All right, I might have to turn those down a notch. But let's go back to it. This is going to be a best... Oh, yeah, Yuki, their games are live, actually. So people should be starting any seconds. Now, we've got Ace, big Ace. I don't think I have to introduce the guy. If you don't know Ace, you've been sleeping on the rock for the last few years. I mean, if you don't know Mitoe, you probably also have been asleep for the last few years, but he hasn't been that active on Age of Empires DE, to be fair. Still, two absolute legends from the Age of Empires realm. I think you can agree, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They are some of the most timeless classic players. And for those of you that have only been around since DE, this is probably one of the most well-known AoE3 rivalries out there. And I say rivalries in a very friendly manner because I don't think these guys have ever been hostile. But I mean, they have played so many best of sevens over the years. And to have them back to play another one, I am here for it 110%.
And while speaking about 100 and what was 10%, we actually
110. Well,
110 almost.
I'll raise that. We'll go 112%. I'm 112% ready to see Aizamk and Mido go head to head. And if it doesn't go to 7 games, I'm going to be severely disappointed.
Oh, that's all right. So let's just take a second here. Oh, yeah, right. I was a bit confused for a second because Revner was talking about delay and I thought he was talking about the stream. But there we go, Mito's game, 2-town Deccan. And that's the map rule, by the way. First map is going to be Deccan, then Alaska, Budapest, Cascade Range, Mongolia, Niger River, and Pampa Sierra. So we are going to have ourselves a fest tonight. Let's get the stuff going. I'm going to put you in a transition mode for a second there. Be right back with the actual live cast. Just setting things up so it looks all neat and perfect. So, and one last thing. There we go. Are you in the game already?
I am. I just want to make sure I'm in the right server here.
Yeah, because it usually puts you on closest when you
Yep,
start.
they're playing on US West Coast, correct?
US West Coast should be the one that shares.
Oh, West UK.
West UK? Oh,
West
right.
UK. Yeah, I think that's the one they're on.
Perfect.
Still waiting for it to load. Oh, I don't see anything on West UK, and it's just called Mido's game.
Mitoe, yeah, should be. 2-town is also in the title. Maybe you have. Are you on Spectator, right?
I don't know if I am.
If you go into browse the lobby browser, then you just on the lower part you have several different buttons, and one of those says Spectator mode or spectating or something or Spectator.
Oh,
there we go.
See, this is why you're here. This is why you're here to help rookies like me who should not be rookies. Rookies who should not be rookies, but they are. And yeah, I am now loading into the game.
Yeah, I'm just your friendly neighborhood Austrian technician, probably.
Oh, you have to put that on a resume. Like that has to be your business card. Your friendly neighborhood Austrian technician.
I don't know why Austrian would be any kind of qualification, but let's not get too deep into that topic. If you're ready, then I'm going to start, and I'm going to put you guys on the main thing in a second. All right?
Absolutely.
1, 2, 3, and let's go. So, there we go. Don't forget, guys, this is not a normal 1v1. It is 1v1, but it is 2 town centers, actually. So they both start with a town center, and Ravnik has pointed that part out already. For some maps, the town center wagons that you get at the start, the additional ones, actually spawn in the middle of the map. And that is going to make things even more interesting. As a matchup, we actually got China from Ace versus France from Mitoe. So this is going to be interesting.
Hmm. Oh, wow. So I love this map. I think that this little rise in the center, this little
Oh,
plateau,
yeah.
it's going to be such a fun place to fight over. And I wonder, I mean, when it comes to having two town centers, is the best thing to do laying that town center down immediately to establish control, or do you look for kind of the most premium spot on the map to place it?
To be honest, I think that Ace put it down immediately, which makes sense because then, of course, you can start producing earlier and so on and so forth. I don't think long ways are the thing to do here. But at the same time, I also don't think you want to have those things facing each other point blank.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And the middle is certainly one of the most important parts on the map. But don't forget, Deccan is also special for other reasons. We can't see it now, but you have a ton of extra resources
Mhm.
at this point. Honestly, I would have to check that. Was the first one a blind pick or not? Because I actually don't know. I just know that after that they have normal Civ rules, so they just pick whoever wins now.
Right.
All right. And of course, that's a fascinating start. China just sent in the immigrants, and of course, that's going to be better than usual because we have two towns
Mhm.
and two town centers, so that should be 4 extra villages for Ace at that point.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I
gonna make
like
his
it already.
economy jumpstart a lot quicker than a normally, you would see China with just one town center do.
Yeah.
I really like that play.
Honestly, I'm already interested in how this is going to play out because usually what you have to balance is that kind of additional economic power while not being left behind when it comes to a temple, right? Because you have two
Mhm.
town centers that you do need to feed at some point.
Right, absolutely. And you have to be able to keep up production from both of them if you actually want to make use of this game mode, which, for early game economies isn't always the easiest.
True, absolutely true. I'm just taking a look at the deck of A's at this point, just so you guys can as well. And if you're looking close here, yeah, I mean we have a lot of options there. I mean, I see the upgrade card in H2 for Step Riders and Chukunu. If you want to stay in H2 for a longer time, you've got good faith agreements, so you can do some action with your consulate and all that stuff. But you also have the most important H2 cards, H3 cards there, so it's all open for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At the same time, yeah, of course, Mitoe got his own deck for 2 towns with France. A lot of stuff in H3 and even more stuff than usual in H4. So I think we know where he wants to go with this Civ at this point. Also taking the trade route, which is always pretty strong on this map, of course.
Yeah, and it also pays to notice that a lot of even his Age 1 and Age 2 cards, less focused on units and resources. And you've got a few upgrades there, which also suggests, playing the long game and going into Age 3 or even Age 4.
Absolutely. And I mean, just look at the mass that we have here. Unit shipments in H4. 4 Calves, 2 heavy cannons, 6 Cuirass, 14 skirms, and of course the 2 factories. So
Oh my
he is
God.
down for it, I'd say.
Oh, goodness gracious.
H2 for
Yeah.
France with the quartermaster, nothing fancy there.
Mm-hmm.
Ace aging up with the summer pillars, so well, no, the business as usual at least here, at least so far.
Right. Right. And you wonder if China's going to play kind of a more fortress build with these two town centers, or maybe even go for something a little more aggressive. It might pay off if France is going to try to boom and play for the industrial age, but we'll have to see what China does.
Can I just say this is most interesting? Actually, China put the resources forward. If Mitoe is a sneaky bastard, he just could go forward and sneak one village over there and get some of that food.
I mean, putting the consulate that far forward, it does indicate that we might see an aggressive play from
Oh
China.
yeah, look at the first shipment there.
Oh, yep.
Pikes, Minutemen, he's the one to do it. He's going in there, all in. No shenanigans.
A's, oh, you have not changed a bit, my friend. Oh, I love it. And even the sentries coming out. What are they? Are they going to go knock down that barracks?
They
No,
don't have.
surely.
They are. No, they are not. I mean, their siege damage is quite terrible. But I think they're just going to be there to annoy the villagers of Mitoe, actually.
Right.
Not that they do a lot of damage, but.
No, I was just going to say it's more of like a very aggressive massage rather than any sort of attack. But I mean, it is there. It is pestering the French player. He'll eventually have to put those villagers in the TC, but I love what I'm seeing from China right now.
Yeah.
I'm waiting with bated breath to see what happens next.
As a friend of mine used to say, time is Elo, so we got to get this shit going. And actually, the first army that's being trained is the Mongolian army, so 2 Steppe Riders and 2 Kashyyyks, probably trying to contest a possible Cav start, but I don't know about that one.
No, it looks like A's is... No, sorry. It looks like Mido is starting musket and with the 8 crossbows coming out, so definitely anticipating this pressure, and looks like he's going to try to deal with it with some early shipments.
Yeah, but those were a few good hits. I mean, he's only got 2 Steppe Riders, and they took 1 archer down and almost got a second one, so he's going to like that.
Right.
And the Kashyyks might be of use here as well. I mean, of course, they need upgrades, they need Mars, essentially, so this fight would be a bit weird if China took it.
Right, and the problem for China right now is he just doesn't have a good response to the muskets or the crossbows. He needs some ranged infantry to try to take care of those and even out this composition that Mido has right now. But taking down the trading post, that's great value, especially at the start of the game before that trading post really has a chance to, pay off.
And also, don't forget that Mitoe has not been able to upgrade it yet, either because of his investments into infrastructure, I mean, stable, barracks, market and all that stuff, or just because he doesn't, he doesn't have that thing for sure yet. So he might try and just secure it first before actually upgrading the damn thing, and then in the end, ending up donating all that stuff. Oh god, it's horrible.
Yeah, the pike's getting caught out, and they're just gonna melt from all that musket fire, and I think Mido caught a very good fight here, and even getting the Kashyyks in melee, that's not going to be good. Losing the Explorer.
Absolutely terrible. You know when I said that Kashyyks might be a good thing here? Well, that was not the mass nor the quality they needed. That was just dog shit.
Do you take back your words at this point, MFD? Okay,
yes,
we got that on camera.
Yeah, please. God.
Well, I don't think A's is in a position where, he's lost the game this early, but he's definitely on the back foot. And because he went all out, well, not all out aggression, but because he did play rather aggressive, it's going to be harder for him to recover off the foot of this, especially with how much cav he has.
Absolutely. Can I just point something out, though, because I'm just looking at the consulate. And don't forget, the consulate, I don't know if you know that at that point, but the consulate actually gives cheaper units for China.
Oh,
and that
that's
applies
right.
on villages as well. So we have got 34 villages to 45, I think, or 47 even for A's at the point.
Oh my god. So, and those 2 flamethrowers are just doing work.
Absolutely doing the Lord's work. Or not, if you're considering this is France against, well...
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be the French, not the Chinese, calling on the Lord at this point. But it doesn't look like he's home, because we're about to have some barbecued crossbows. Ooh, and A's, he looks like he's gotten the momentum back. I wonder what he's going to do with it.
I just wanted to say that beforehand, that if Mitoe overstays in Ace's base, that might not be good for him. And, well, those flamethrowers in the right position are just beasts. Yeah. And there goes the second TP.
You do have to love how the flame goes through the Kashyyks to hit the trading post, and it doesn't harm them at all. AoE 3 graphics at their finest. Yeah.
Don't forget about the one thing that Malta can do. They can actually blow up British menace if they are allied with one, and then just, the Brits get to build them again and get more villages out of them. But that's a different story here. Maybe we'll see Malta in a later game.
We all knew you had game knowledge, MFD. You didn't have to show off.
Oh, that's not game knowledge, that's just meme knowledge at this point, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, I think China has gained some really nice momentum. Those flamethrowers, now he's up to 5 flamethrowers, and he's going to be able to melt a lot of these buildings. What is France going to be able to do to come back from this? I don't know. He's lost 2 trading posts. That's a lot of wood invested. He's losing control of the middle plateau.
He's aging behind this. That's the weird thing.
Oh my.
So he basically has to give up the town center. He can't do shit against that at the moment. He really needs to get those H3 upgrades, H3 units, and H3 power spike. But losing their TC and probably 5 vills is pretty hefty at this point.
Yeah, and I don't know. Are you going to be able to take advantage of that tech switch in the Fortress Age before China just burns down all your buildings? And sure, you're in H3, you're shipping 8 skirms, but you've got no barracks, you've got no stable, and, you know, you've got a big ball of colonial Chinese units sitting under your second town center.
And the Chinese
That's
player is
kinda
actually sending another flamethrower and a castle richer. That's a card now. So
God.
he
And with
wants
all
that
these
fire action.
and with all of these cav units to protect the flamethrowers, they're actually pretty well defended.
Oh, speaking about it,
Oh,
that's a weird situation right there. We got the Dragoons out and nothing really to fight the Dragoons because those 4 skirms are not going to be enough to deal with that mass. But the Dragoons have to
MFD,
damage now.
did you wake up this morning, grab your cup of coffee, and think, man, I can't wait to see Dragoon versus Flamethrower. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, no, that was actually pretty much how I imagined my night. Yeah, absolutely. That was exactly what I thought would happen today.
Oh, man. But, I mean, Mito's done a great job massing quite a good number of Dragoons in a pretty short amount of time. And now, I don't know, there's still a lot of Flamethrowers up.
Oh, but 2 cannons in the back and those Falconets are going to do short work of anything that stands in their way.
Oh, goodbye. Oh, man.
That what happens when a cannon hits a goddamn flamethrower. A lot of fire.
This is... I'm having such a hard time figuring out who's in control. Because on the one hand, Aizamk has control of the middle plateau. It still has both town centers. But on the other hand, you've got Mido, who is in the Fortress Age, 2 cannons, and lots of goons to protect them. I don't know. I mean, an entertaining first game.
Absolutely.
Nonetheless.
A weird one as well, but don't forget, if we just look... I just want to tell you 2 numbers, all right? I'm just going to say 2 numbers out loud, and then we think about who's ahead. 65 to 37. That's Vilnums right now. And I know CDBs are monsters.
Serious?
Yeah. Don't forget, we have 2 TCs. Faster producing, cheaper villages for a long time now for Ace. And he's... Oh. And he's just pumping those guys out.
You know, and I'm not discounting that, but the amount of momentum that Mido currently has, plus the fact that CD count as 1.25 villagers, so I don't know if the gap is quite as large as the numbers show it to be, but unless he comes up with a response to those 2 cannons, he's going to lose a lot of this infrastructure in the middle of the map.
Absolutely. But at the same time, don't forget, it took Mitoe, or it takes Mitoe, it still takes him quite a lot of time to put all that down. And in the meantime, we still have a double TC production for the Chinese player. Now it's 71 villagers, which is insane at this point. And he's also aging to the 3rd age now.
Not to mention the efficiency of Chinese units. You know, they trade so well. But, you know, I think another thing we have to consider is the fact that the composition of Mito's army is a bit strange because in the one hand, it's incredibly mobile. And in the other hand, it's incredibly slow with those 2 Falcons.
Yeah. Oh, and look at that. He just went in with the Dragoons. I mean, it cost him a Dragoon still, but he actually got another reinforcing flamethrower. So I think he's pleased with that.
Right.
Also getting some vills, but at the same time being raided by 2 Keshiks.
And I was just about to say, we're getting to the point where the resources are getting stretched pretty thin, especially the hunts. I mean, the middle plateau has been almost picked clean. And so you're really going to have to start going out to the fringes near the trading line to start getting hunts, which is going to make you very susceptible to raids, especially since both players have gone very heavy in fast-moving cavalry.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we actually, I mean, he was there. Mitoe was just in the lower parts with his native scout. I think he also lost him there, but now he wants to raid there, but he won't find any villages, at least none that stray too far from any safe villages. So that investment might be forsaken there. Skirms coming
China
up
can
now?
China can just be super difficult to raid just because of the fact that they can always hide their villagers in those really convenient villages. But those villages are vulnerable. They can be torn down pretty quickly. Looks like those cuirassiers are going to get caught, though.
And by the way, while those guys are being caught, we were also caught by another goddamn raid. 29 people from JPC, if I'm reading that correct. So jump the curtain.
I love it. I love it. We're already up to 118 in the chat.
Holy God, 155. That's a good start into this best of 7 with 2 town center starts.
Oh my lord. And I mean, look at this. Look at this action on the middle plateau. And it's interesting to see that China's not really offering any significant resistance here. Is he just going to let this infrastructure go down, or is he going to be back in time for dinner?
I think the idea there was that while Mitoe was basically breaking down his buildings, was slowly gathering up mass to contest and fight this. You know, while he has the better eco. Because I do think at this point with 77 villages, we can safely say that it is the better eco. And now
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Oh, there it is. There it is. The Chinese cav getting in, and they're getting into melee against the Dragoons. That's exactly where they want to be, but
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm a bit ahead. I'm at 1546 right now. And that fight is looking not too good anymore for China at this point. Depends on how long he keeps those cuirassiers standing, because a lot of the Dragoons have been killed in the meantime.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Those mortars just not doing as much work as I thought they might against the Falcons.
Mitoe was rather smart, but now we actually got the Iron Flayers coming in, and those guys might be able to take down the Falc. And that is just so important to have right now for Mitoe.
Yeah. I mean, let's consider for a second how long those two Falcons have been standing and how much work they've done.
True.
They've been basically tearing down buildings for the past 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah. But now let's,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Now let's take a quick look and check, right? Check the numbers, check the situation. We have a French army that has not succeeded in fully pushing off
May he rest in peace.
pushing off Ace from this entire thing. And at the same time, points have dropped significantly while we're playing this.
Right.
Ah, God. Yeah. Sorry, I have to put the alerts down. Apparently.
The hype is too loud, MFD.
Yeah, I just heard that. So you're going to have to do the talking while I just...
well, I think, the momentum has been kind of shifting back and forth this entire game. We've been seeing pushes from both sides. I think this is where the superior Chinese economy starts to kind of take over. And I think we're going to see more and more of those super efficient batches of units come out from the Chinese player. I would like to see him target the French trading post line, because that is the one big economic advantage the French player still has. The Manchus have come out.
Oh, that is true.
To see what they're going to do. It's going to be really good against any more cures that might come out from.
All right, guys, you are definitely overdoing it with the sound, honestly.
There's so much attack going on.
Yeah, on it. But at the same time, we have there is attack going on in the chat, and at the same time, we're having problems here.
Welcome back.
Yeah, so I think that big ball of skirms is doing work for France. But
there we go.
Now that they actually
look at the score.
That batch of cav pretty well.
Yeah, true, but look at the score still. 20. There we go. Now we're able to just tune it down a notch. Finally, sorry for the alerts, guys. But to be fair, that was mostly yourselves.
Oh man. See, I keep wanting to pull for Mido, and I keep thinking, oh, he's back in the game. But at this point, I don't know. China just has such a big lead economically.
Look at the trade routes right now.
Right.
And tell me that's not important.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got the TC down in the back. So, he might be able to start catching up on production, especially if he gets some good raids with these Dragoons. But the China ball is getting bigger.
The pathing, something terrible happens here. He was back and forthing like a maniac. Oh, that is terrible.
Yeah. Out come the redcoats. I don't know. I don't want to call... no, I'm not going to call it, because Mido is an amazing player, and I've seen him come back from things like this before, but I don't know. The China player just seems to have units everywhere.
Can't hear co-cast, which is fascinating, because I did not actually change anything that has to do with Discord, but alright. So, all right, but now the Chinese army is just forming up again, and look at the score difference is just going up and up and up. If France can get to maximum villager capacity, then we're in a good spot again, in my opinion. But
I
don't think China is going to leave him that much breathing space.
And I just want to point out how excellent Aizamk has been at preventing any big raids from happening.
True.
He's lost a couple of vills, but with how stretched out his economy has become, at the 20 or so minute mark, he hasn't really lost any big amounts of villagers to the cuirassiers or the dragoons, which
Yeah.
is very impressive.
And now at the other side, look at that.
Oh,
Yeah, you're seeing it in the
Yeah.
middle of the map. Goddamn slaughter. Those berries were just too tasty and the French couldn't
Yep.
resist, but it's going to cost them. Oh,
yeah,
that's uncomfortable.
especially when you're down, that just can't happen.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you need to conserve every piece of economy you have to try to catch back up. And the dragoons are coming home, but I don't think they're going to be back in time.
Yeah, I mean, they can fight and try to take out the flamethrowers if Mitoe is fast enough with those guys. But
Look at that batch of redcoats, though. Look at that massive redcoats. They're just going to tear down the town center.
oh god, yeah, I'm just looking at them now. With the artillery again, I I didn't think too much when I saw that that consulate shipment coming in, but god, that TC is toast. And the
I don't know if I've
reinforcing
ever-
army is
I don't know if I've ever seen a Falk that close to the building it's trying to siege down.
Oh,
That Falk cannot miss.
yeah, absolutely not. You could basically just give that in my hand and let me shoot and it will still hit that thing. But at the
Point
same
blank
time,
range.
look at that. I think that's the first GG. Yep, there we go.
Yeah. And there it is. There it is.
All right, so then I will turn down the OBS stuff even more. There we go. I think this should be an acceptable volume right now. Sorry for the OBS
Right.
stuff, but that was something we couldn't test out ahead.
Wow.
That's
That
1-0 so far.
What a game.
What
What
a
a game,
game, yeah.
MFD.
God,
That was
damn
awesome.
it. And there was a wonderful slaughter. I mean, wonderful not for Mitoe in this case, of course, but wonderful to to watch, honestly.
Right. We do not condone the slaughter of CDBs in any way, shape, or form. However,
However,
it was quite entertaining to see that rate. And I think that's kind of where Mido realized he had lost the game. You know, when China's able to basically split their army and attack your army and your town at the same time,
yeah.
you're cooked. But oh wow.
Because Vividly is just putting in the the map pool command. Actually, I'm just going to run you guys through it since you want to know probably. Deccan was now the first one. Alaska is the next one. Budapest will be the next one, the third one. Then Cascade Range is the fourth. Fifth is Mongolia, and if we get to see more games, we have Niger River and Pampas Sienas. So we are
wonderful.
set with some
So-
awesome maps.
MFD, I have a confession to make.
This I like a lot. This I like
That
a lot.
entire game, my observer mode was basically paused,
Yeah.
so I was completely going off of the cuff, and
All right.
I didn't want to reveal anything. I didn't want to cause any delay to the game because I know
Nice,
people
fun.
are excited to watch this happen. But if you know why that might have been the case, I would love your advice.
So you were basically in the game, but it did not play.
Yep.
Is that correct?
No,
Oh, that
it
is-
didn't start. It was basically at the
That's
starting
unfortunate.
screen.
I mean, we can just try again, and if it still doesn't work, let me know, and I'll just, hop onto Discord and quickly stream for you, and we at least have the same time frame.
Right. I mean, it worked out fine. I guess a couple of my calls were a couple of seconds behind yours, but hopefully we masked it well enough to not ruin the viewing experience.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, at this point, just one last thing that I want to show you. I mean, resources, we don't have to talk about that. Not even that much more for Ace, but Ace just took the better fights at the point where he might have lost his mass. And if we look at villager numbers, right, that is probably, if you're seeing that right now, villager numbers are
Yeah, I am. Oh
insane.
my.
Yeah.
And credit to Mido, he never stopped his villager production. He kept it steady the entire game, but once he lost that town center in the center plateau, there was really no way to keep up with what China was doing.
Absolutely. Fully agree with that.
Wow. I think that was a good omen. I think that was a good omen that we are going to get an incredible series.
Me too. I'm just putting you guys in a transition screen for a second. I'm going to set up the overlay nice and beautifully, so we can have all the good things. And you guys know the map pool and can check those things out so far. So there we go. Perfect. So
There are concerns in the chat that Mido is rusty, and I think he's just getting warmed up.
Yeah.
I think Mido's about to impress a lot of people in the chat. I mean, he has been, granted he has had hiatuses here and there, but this guy has been a staple of the community for years and years and years. So I think we're gonna get some great games out of him.
Absolutely, I completely agree. And don't forget, if we think about the hidden cup situations and so on and so forth, that Ace has improved himself incredibly during the time that he has been out. And Mitoe, of course, has not been that active, but he has so much experience, especially in these intense 1v1 situations.
Right.
So let's be optimistic for the rest of the games as well, because the first one was quite the start already, I'd say.
Yeah. And you have to remember, for a while there, Mido did have the momentum. And I think, given that he was going for a more boomy build according to his deck, the fact that he held out so well against that aggression, I again, don't sleep on Mido, but
Yeah.
I do have to give it up to A's. Back in the day, showing my age here, A's was kind of like the gimmicky player, right? But he has really adapted and he's kept his unique style while also starting to master a lot more standard play. And it shows in the fact that he is consistently on the top or near the top of the leaderboards.
Yeah, I absolutely see that point. And the funny thing is that I share that perspective of yours to some extent. But I didn't start watching competitive Age of Empires 3 until I think 2017 or 18 or something. But then, of course, we were right in that spot where Ace was mostly playing strats that everybody dreamed of playing, but nobody could pull it off in competitive situations. But of course, he was a bit beneath the level that you usually see when you have Hazard playing Kaiser Klein and those things. But he has absolutely upped his game.
Yeah, and he has adapted to the new Civ pool very well as well, because when you throw in so many new Civs with DE, those older players, it takes time to adjust to the new balance. And I think that older generation is starting to really kind of reclaim some of their spots, but that takes nothing away from the new guys we've seen come up through the ranks. They have been fantastic as well.
All right. And the guys are readying the game right now. So there we go. We actually have it right now. And don't forget, the second map is Alaska. All right. So let's get hyped and ready for that one. Because this is, I'd say, the complete opposite of what we just played. No trade line. A few natives, but that's about it. A lot of water. And the map that really enables you if you have the map. All right.
Right. Yeah. Looks like I am getting the same results. So I might have to use your perspective, MFD, once again.
Who could resist that sulky voice? I'm just going to switch it on. There we go. And Age of Empires. All right, perfect. So, in the meantime, let me set up my overlay again. Perfect. And jump right in. Oh, and that's an interesting pick, of course. I will let you know in a second.
Oh, I'm waiting with bated breath. I can't wait.
Transition is in. Stream should be up for you as well by now. And there we go. We've got Mitoe with the Portuguese versus Aces.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Which is a rather interesting matchup. Two Civs that are considered still to be rather strong on water. And as I said, for this map, that's going to be perfect. Especially, I always look forward to seeing Portugal being played here, because since the last few patches, they have had a card that actually gives their TCs a resource trickle, which might be more potent with this start.
Indeed. Yeah. And...
He's not building it. Mitoe is still not building the TC. It seems like he forgot until 50 seconds in.
Oh,
Ooh,
really?
interesting, but
Come
well,
on, Mido, get it up.
happens.
Yeah.
And look at that. The town center from Ace is actually just in the middle. Oh, God. I feel like we're going to see another rush action here. You see that?
Yep, I think so. Which he's picked a good civ to do it with.
Let's just see if Mito actually has an idea. He doesn't know. He doesn't even know the thing went there if he didn't see the wagon going forward. So that might be quite a surprise. And I'm thinking if we're going to see something really sketchy, then this might be a rush with Haudenosaunee, which they're known for, obviously. So interesting thing right there. Take a look at the deck. Oh, God. He's got a deck with Town Destroyer in it. How?
Oh.
Oh, this guy is going places.
In case anybody was still in doubt, I think the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
Mito, on the other hand, has a neat little, 1v1 Kinesis. Nice. He has almost the same cards, equal out over all the 4 ages. Perfectly fine. The only problem is not a single unit shipment in age 2. So this might end in disaster. He can see the TC now, and he might know what's up for him here. But ooh.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. 1400% siege attack damage. 1400% upgrade.
Yeah,
that is
283 or 230, 240 or something in the end. So quite considerable.
Oh man. Wow. That's just. So, I don't know. Is Mido going for something a little more boomy once again? And is it going to be kind of a repeat where just Aizamk rushes him before he can really make any of that play off? But
I mean, I don't know. He doesn't have Phaetorus, actually. So that thing is out of the picture for him now. Also, which is a bit weird, he's not training constantly from 2 TCs. Something that he didn't do beforehand, too. But a bit weird to see this, honestly, from him.
Yeah, I would agree.
And look at that. Look, I wanted to say Lakota because I'm Lakota and Haudenosaunee main, but Haudenosaunee at the same time, not too invested in their water starts. Just one fishing boat coming out. But I mean, if you have 2 TCs, you've got people to feed, basically. So I get that.
Right. And getting that little extra trickle of food is going to be helpful. And it does give him the option to expand on it later on.
And 90 food in that situation. That means he can go up right now. And let's see what is going to be the messenger. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen?
That's what Haudenosaunee need. They need to age up faster.
Yes. Right here. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know. Things are looking quite good for Aizamk. Yeah, it's all going to depend on if Mido can hold out in order to get his fishing economy really rolling. Then he could have an advantage, but we might see a repeat where a bunch of units come out, second town center gets sieged down, and then the economic disparity just gets bigger.
Guys, what do you think the first card is? Sorry to interrupt you right there, but that has to be said. It's goddamn Town Destroyer. I don't know when the last time was that I saw that.
Look at that placement. How do you get closer than that? Oh my god.
Yeah, because of course it's its second TC, so there's no build limit area-wise, so you can just go basically be neighbors there. This is so ridiculous.
This is not ridiculous at all. How dare you? This is Aizamk in all of his glory. But yes, this is quite ridiculous.
Yeah. Sharp Knife is actually on the sides now, and now he's going in. He's actually not going in on the separated TC. He's going in on the main TC in the middle.
And that's where Mido sent his wood shipment.
Oh no, he saw the wagon. That's what he's after. He wants to get that. Yeah, he wants to get the extra TC, and he's going to get it. No way that thing survives, because that's going to be almost 1 hit or 2 hit.
Even if it goes up, I mean, it takes 4 times. Look at those hits. Oh my god.
Oh my god, what is this? What are we seeing here? I mean, that guy has what? Yeah, I call it 232 damage at least. And now those vills are dead. I think Mito at this point is already... Yeah, I just wanted to say, heavily considering the GG. Somebody in the chat is saying it too.
A 5-minute, 32-second game.
Yeah.
How... Why... Can
I just say one thing, though? that we talked about how Mitoe might not be too well versed with the newer civs from the DLC and so on and so forth. But this could have happened like that on the old version as well. So
Oh yeah.
that was just a perfect counterplay. Absolutely disgusting, but fun at the same time. Not
That
for Mitoe probably, but God.
no, but I mean, if you're gonna clip any game in this stream and use it as a highlight, I think that might be the one. Sharp Knife single-handedly taking down a building TC. That's oh my god. I don't even have a good I don't have good commentary for that. I'm just
It leaves you without
speechless.
words. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely agree.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I don't Mido is just trying to
This I
boom,
like a lot.
and
This I like
A's
a lot.
is. I don't know if he just studied how Mido's been playing recently, but it seems like he's just been so on top of what Mido's been trying to do.
I think the main problem here is that Ace is just so good at crafting specific strategies, that he just, if you see that matchup and you think about how this might be played at Water and whatnot, he just countered the Civ with its normal playstyle, with its vanilla playstyle, and that is his strength. These wacky strategies, these perfectly thought out strategies, still, I'm speechless as well, honestly.
I don't. All I can do is
Yeah.
That was some insane game knowledge there to know that, oh, well, I'm playing Port. Okay. Guess I better go for Town Destroyer and look for his third TC.
Absolutely understandable. So, guys, in the meantime, while people are taking a breath and recover from what just happened, I'm just going to put in a quick timeout while I fix the UI again, and we will see each other in a second. But yeah, please, any comments in the chat right now about what just happened in this 5:30 game? God.
Oh. Wow.
Absolutely wow.
All right. Well, hopefully, either you can share your perspective so I can be a little more on time, or I can figure out why.
Oh, I thought I was sharing my
spectator
perspective on stream.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was.
Oh,
the
okay.
entire, sorry.
Perfect. Okay, perfect.
I mean, the
perfect.
game was over so quick that probably, yeah. Oh, and the next
Right.
map is indeed Budapest. And the interesting thing about Budapest, and Vividly, if you want to explain, please do so in the chat. But I'd say the main point there is that you actually start with two TCs on two sides, which is going to be interesting.
Right. Huh. I'm not exactly sure what to expect here. I've been so thrown off kilter by Aze's play in these first two games, especially that second one, that I feel like any prediction I might make might just be made to look foolish in the next 10 minutes.
I see what you're talking about. Let's get the civs in here, locked in, so everything is nice and clean. We've got, what was it, Portugal, there we go. 2-0 so far for Ace, slowly approaching victory here, but we'll see what happens. And by the way, Vividly also added some information for those of you who are not actively reading the chat. 3-town Showmatch, yeah. He said that on Budapest you start with 2 TCs, which I knew beforehand, but also with 2 sets of crates and villages. So, are we talking about 2 full sets here? Vividly, if you could just clear that up, that would be interesting to me at least.
I mean, if it is, that's gonna give a huge jump start to the game.
Absolutely. It's going to be kind of like the starting situation we had on Deccan, I think.
Right.
Just a bit weirder.
Yeah, I would say so.
By the way, Ace is hosting now, and the game is already there. So if you guys are ready, I'm as well.
Perfect.
So
let me take a moment to hop in here.
Yeah, I'll just.
You said Ace is hosting this one?
Ace is hosting this one. Apparently, Mitoe has had problems, or has been having problems with his connection, in the sense of.
All right.
Yeah. And yeah,
Got
I'm
it.
already looking at the matchup, and that matchup is, well, some people would say one-sided. I think Moonshine would agree. I will just let you know in the overlay, we've got Ace with Russia versus Mitoe with Germany. And that is a quite interesting matchup in my opinion, because at some point, I feel like at least, Russia is heavily disadvantaged in this matchup.
Mhm.
If they let Germany get to the certain point where they can just spam their war wagons and so on and so forth.
Right. But at the similar token, if Russia is able, and we were talking about this beforehand, before we started the stream, if Russia's able to keep Germany in Age 2, that's when the momentum shifts.
That is true. I absolutely agree with that. So let's see what we are going to see here. There we go. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Sorry, that was a bit of green screen there. But let's transition into the game and get started in a second. Alright, are you guys ready? I am certainly ready, so let's get this thing started. I just gotta ask, are you still there? Because I can't hear you apparently.
Yes, I am here. I am just...
Did you change your voice settings or got farther away from the microphone or something? Because you're quiet, or rather quiet right now. I don't know why.
I do not believe... But I have been staying in the same proximity.
That's just a bit weird, because I just tried to put you up a bit higher, but yeah. Oh, by the way, Ace is starting and he's actually aging up right now. 45-second age up. Oh god, this is gonna be so disgusting. Oh.
Okay. All right. Well, it's gonna make for what is likely going to be another aggressive build from Aizamk.
I mean, I don't want to call it right now on the one
Right.
side. On the other side, we are seeing an age up that's going to be, what, 2 minutes and 20? So, well, could be. Could be. Mitoe playing this a bit more vanilla with his Germans, I assume, yeah. And we do have, by the way, just to confirm this, we do have 2 full sets of economy, 2 full sets of stuff. So basically, those guys are having double the economy and double the resource crates. And I hope that Mitoe is not taking, not just getting caught off guard here again. That would be a shame.
Well, there is one thing about this map that's going to be nice for Mido, and it is the fact that he has a lot of safe coin in his base. Like on his town center on the right, he's got 2 coin mines within very close proximity of that one town center.
Germans
so it is going to make it easier to defend, but he's still going to have to prepare pretty quickly if he's going to hold what's most likely going to be some Russian aggression. Although putting the blockhouse back... Oh, no, is that a church?
It's there. That was a church. And if we see a church from Ace, then Nope, he doesn't have it. I for a second, I thought he might have those god-awful priests card in deck, but he does not.
So what?
Oh, God.
First the 5
card.
Cossacks are coming out. That's standard.
Yeah. The timing is not standard, though, and that is going to be... Well, bonkers if he gets some damage done there. Wait, where did they pop out? Oh, no, I think he spawned them backwards. So, Ace sometimes also does a mistake. Oh,
well, yes.
He seems to be looking at taking that TP as well. Interesting. House of Jagelian. For those who don't know, because not all people are familiar with the newer factions, those guys have Lipka Tatars, which is an anti-cav unit, and Shock Riders, which can do quite some damage if you let them. And also have some other interesting upgrades that we might get to take a look on later on.
Props to Mido for doing a lot of nice early damage to that trading post. But
True.
Here come the 5 Cossacks.
Yeah, there might be one. Yeah. If not,
you
then...
might get away.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Nope. Just barely.
The deer tried to, get in the way and protect the German, but the settler, well, that didn't work out too well.
Yeah. No, I am glad that Mido is finally aged up, and I don't know
True.
what his first approach will be.
I don't know either. I think it depends because he doesn't really know what the other guy's doing. I mean, you see a forward blockhouse on one side, you see a trading post on the other side. It's hard to tell, I think.
But look at the damage he was able to do to that trading post. I mean, I know that that's not going to be relevant right away, but I mean, he's got that health.
Yeah. Oh God, Ace just picked up a 300 coin treasure. How is that allowed?
How many? What? What are the guardians on that treasure? I saw him taking down what looked like grizzly bears.
3 or 4 grizzlies, probably.
300 coin. That's... Oh man, my math is terrible, but that's almost a full batch of Cossacks?
It doesn't matter. He's going to age up with it because he sent 700 coin. Now got 300 from the age up, and he's just been gathering resources. He's going to be in age 3 now. Yeah, he's going up right now.
At the 4-minute 30 mark.
With excellent prints.
His opponent's been in the second age for what's probably been about 90 seconds, and he's already going age 3.
Germany now just, now Mito's reflexes are kicking in. He's putting out Uhlans, double groups, microing them well, getting a Cossack. Yeah, really nice work.
Yeah, and again, look at how that safe coin mine has been paying off. He's built the little house wall around it, and he has a lot of... I think he's got all of those settler wagons on coin, switching them off now to collect the wood.
Yeah. Yeah, now the problem is what he's doing here is basically standard semi-FF for Germany with another TC, which is weird already.
Right.
Not talking about the fact that he started with extra economy. But at the same time, we have Russia being in age 3 already, so, well.
Right. We do have to remember, though, that when it comes to the Fortress Age, if Mito's able to get up, he does have the superior Fortress Age.
Oh God, look at this now.
Russia.
He got the Lipka Tatars out, and those guys have 1.25 attack speed, so extremely fast. Those are going to slaughter the Uhlans, no questions.
Good lord. Are you serious?
Perfect pop, ready there to defend all of this. What the hell? Vividly, what kind of map did you build here?
Oh my... How is Aizamk predicting this stuff so well? And how are these pop-outs so well-timed for all 3 games?
I think Revnag has it spot on with saying that Ace is adapting perfectly, and I think he is. Mito is still a bit stuck on the I would say, standard build here, while Ace is just playing like this is how you're supposed to play that map.
Right. Yeah, and it just goes to show that in this game mode, just playing standard with extra villagers isn't quite going to be enough. You're going to have to use those new features to adapt and, really use the map to your advantage. Especially things like 300 coin treasures and trading posts that pump out units that are perfect against Ulan.
Oh, what a weird coincidence, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, now Mido is in the Fortress Age. And I would say Germany has a bit of a stronger Fortress Age than Russia. He hasn't lost a ton of economy. I think he's only lost that 1 villager to the Cav raid. He has lost some Ulan, which you want to keep for the 3rd Age and get those vet upgrades. But, Mido's definitely not out of it, despite Aizank's impressive adaptation.
Yeah, and now we see the magic unit in this matchup, in my opinion at least, War Wagons. Those are the guys... that are important right here. And actually the first Ulan raids are getting through, doing some damage to the Russian economy. So 37 settlers, by the way, to 41. That means Germany is clearly ahead in villages. Don't forget that he was idle quite a long time, Ace, throughout his, because of his 2 rather fast stage ups.
And now that the skirmishers are coming out against raiding post unit.
You are kind of chopped up a bit. You sound like...
Oh, am I chopping up?
Oh, no, it's better. Yeah, it just sounded like somebody is, stepping on and off the internet cable at your place, but now it's fine again.
All right, perfect. But the 5 war wagons are out, skirmishers are out. He's got a nice mass in the Fortress Age, and Ulans are still around raiding the map. And if you go back to Aizank's base, the herding, his herds are pretty exposed.
True. And the fun thing is, he just had those guys patrolling the right side, trying to catch those Ulans, but they managed to sneak by because he wasn't looking at that moment. So he might actually be able to, Mitoe might actually be able to do some damage there. And look at the score difference. That is what happens when you give Germany 2 TCs. First card for Mitoe, for Ace, by the way, in the third age Ransec, which improves infantry siege damage by 50%. Which still
does he have the Strelet transition to musket card in his deck?
He does. Surov reforms. He does have that.
He is making a lot of Strelet. I wonder if that's gonna come into play here.
That would be super ace, wouldn't it? To see that.
Yeah. But you almost wonder, you know, are muskets what he needs right now against skirms and war wagons?
Yeah.
If it was a huge block of Ulan, yeah, that would make sense. But maybe that kind of tech switch wouldn't be best for him.
Yeah, I agree. Also, in the chat, people have been saying, why is Ace throwing this right now? And in my opinion, I don't think he ever really got ahead, if that makes sense, because he just sacrificed so much economic growth in those first few minutes where he was just quick aging all the time.
Yeah, and we might be partly to blame for that because, I mean, we've been reacting so vividly to, you know, these weird switches in tech that we've kind of forgotten that standard play is standard for a reason, right? Because it's very effective. And
oh, but there we go. You see that coming in, right?
Yep. The massive, there it is. There's the switch to muskets and veteran musk coming in at the same time. I still don't know if. Oh man! Oh wow!
That's a secret. Oh, and there's some anti-cav too, and he's just gonna waltz in there, right? But I mean, the upgrade is only there now, so now they're normal skirms. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is good. Don't get me wrong. Muskets are better than Strele in most situations, but these are ruskets. We have to remember, and they're falling very quickly to the massive skirms. And since most of them are in melee mode, trying to chase down the skirms, a lot of them haven't been firing, just getting picked off. No, I think Germany's gonna hold it.
Yeah, and if he holds that, then basically it's game over for Ace right there.
Yeah.
Strelid would actually have been better, I think, too. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. I think Strele would have been more cost effective. They would have been more effective against the war wagons
and the skirms.
And yeah, I just don't think. I mean, it was an impressive thing to see, right?
But I honestly, Mitoe is taking a whole lot of damage right there because a lot of war wagons just died over there. Still a few muskets running around, so it's just a weird fight.
It is, but at the same time, you know, think about how much Aizamk invested in that massive Strele, and to lose all of it. But I mean, the resource layout is looking pretty sparse for Mido now. He doesn't have a lot of hunt left in his base. He still has those safe coin mines. So it's going to be a battle for the resources at this point.
But he's fine with coin. He just needs that food, and I think he's going to get it here on the right side. He's also trying to at least take the trading post or the trading route there.
Yeah.
But honestly, just the war wagons.
Yeah, and another interesting thing about this game mode is you have to worry about seizing resources in more than one area. And we see, veteran cav archers. No, are those?
Those are Opries. Those are Opries. And if they catch the wrong villagers outside of the town, then that's going to go horribly wrong.
Yeah. And the 2 Falcons as well. I don't know. I mean, if Germany's able to remass fairly quickly, I think he's still going to be in a pretty good spot. Yeah, I think Germany still has the economic advantage.
And the problem with muskets against Germany here, in my opinion at least, is that war wagons are just so good at sniping at artillery, especially when you don't have proper skirms to defend from this. Oh god, I'm already seeing a dead settler wagon right there.
Oh no, no, get back in, get back in.
Second villager, 3 villagers dead.
There's 2. Oh, come on, Mido, get him back in the town center.
Nope, that's all going down.
No way, no.
Ah, that hurts. I mean, one was left to tell the tale of what happened here, but that's brutal. God. Especially because now we've got 50 to 64 villages. So, I mean, we do have to account for extra war wagons, extra settler wagons, but I think those guys just died. So it's really weird to seeing this entire thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this going to be kind of the signal to Mido that he's going to have to push? I mean, after losing that many bills, he can't really just sit and keep trying to out-eco the Russian player.
Yeah, he should get his army together, though, because I think if the Cav Mars... Oh, no, that's unfortunate. Yulan's getting caught off guard, and that's why he was so fast getting up there. He just wants to get all this done before the rest of the army arrives.
At the same time, with the cav away, those Falks back are kind of exposed. They only have a small kind of poultry guard to keep them defended.
True.
But it looks like Mito's going to keep chasing after these cav masses.
Yeah, but
5
he
helps.
is two Ulans on the side just to be annoying if you can. I really, really like that.
Right. And that is kind of what marks a good and a great German player, right? Is being effective with all of your Ulans, not just on the battlefield, but saving some to constantly be raiding your opponent.
Yeah. At the same time, the good upgrades are coming in now. So we've got cavalry hit points, which affects both Ulan and the war wagons. And of course, and that one is really important, especially against Russia, ranged cavalry Caracolia. That thing gives you more range and I think more attack. So really important against a Civ that doesn't have a skirm with proper range. And the fight's on.
Yeah, getting caught in kind of an awkward position here, having
the
to
village
pass
is
around the
tanking as
town
well.
center.
Yeah.
Oh, this is ugly.
This
Can the
is
war wagons
so
do work?
ugly. I don't think so
Yeah.
because there's just so many Cossacks there. The German player might have just bitten off more than he can chew, honestly.
Yeah.
Falk's doing the... Oh, God, that shot right there.
And it's so tempting, right? It's so tempting to try to take down those TCs, but it's always such a gamble because stuff like this can happen. You can get caught out. You can have villagers come to muck up your attack, and oh man.
And the
Yeah,
villager
I
numbers
think-
are still better for Ace, at least pure villager numbers. Oh, the artillery is getting sniped though, so at least some value right there.
Right. At this point, though, I mean,
Germany is still leading with points, but of course we know the Russians usually underscore, so oof.
yeah. I mean, the fact that he's only up 500 points is an indicator that that was a really ugly
Yeah.
fight for the German player.
Absolutely.
Mm.
If we look
Yeah.
at it, 61 villagers now to 65 for Ace, and now 71. Eco theory coming in as well, and now we're just going to go for helps. Interesting
Yeah.
point. So
When it comes to control of the map, though, I mean, Mido has still got quite a bit of the map.
yeah,
We see a massive halberds. Okay,
casually walking by a few villagers.
interesting.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, the classic halberd, oldest trick in the book.
The scary thing about that is that you're just, slightly slower than a hull. That means you can really look at it while it approaches you and gets closer and closer for a very long time before it kills you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
But the
those
next
halbs,
fight is being taken right here, and that one might be more beneficial actually for the German player.
That is true, and yeah, I mean, Mido's done a good job remassing here. There's not a ton of anti-cav left.
Oh, I really, really like this fight, especially because he's basically leading... Oh, now I know why he took that fight, of course. The remass
Yep.
is there, and that will clean up all the Ulans right there and then.
Oh man, see, and this has been kind of the story of the day so far, is that every time Mido pushes, Ace has just had an awesome pop of units that comes in, and then look at these helps. They're just gonna rip down
46
this entire
siege.
town.
We know why they have that now. War Wagons coming out
My
though.
goodness!
So we don't know where to look at the moment. We have that fight over there, which should be going
Right.
to the German player. But this one down here might be more crucial, depending on Mitoe decides
Yeah.
to attack those guys or not.
And I don't know if the German player is going to be able to create enough space to effectively kite with those war wagons. But I mean, there is some good damage here coming on the Russian
Yeah.
player's economy.
But that thing right there might also actually kill him if he doesn't. If he's not careful right there and then.
Yeah. I don't know. I think this is closer than it looks.
Oh,
I really do.
absolutely. Because it's going back and forth, and I think one bad placement. And that's special about this map, because you have those two bases, and losing one might end the game. Oh, God.
Oh no!
Oh,
No!
God.
No!
No. Oh, that's slaughter. Pure
Yeah,
slaughter.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what are we looking at? 15 vills that are gonna go down.
Approximately, yeah, I'd say so. Villager numbers dropping like it's Black Friday. What is this? Like prices on Black Friday. I didn't finish that one, but still, it's not looking good here.
Yeah.
At the same time,
don't
that
know.
fight's still going on.
I mean, Mido has also killed quite a few Russian villagers over at that hunt, but
What the hell? Yeah. Sorry for clicking away so fast, but I just feel like this fight is going rather good for the German player, taking a lot of vills down. Actually, they are still at the same points. Oh,
And the
Manchu coming
Manchu's
out.
coming out.
Those are dangerous guys.
Yeah.
Basically, what's
Man.
happening here is they're just punishing each other back and forth on all sides for leaving their bases, which is absolutely... Oh, God.
Right. But, you know, think about it this way. This is kind of what the Russian player wants, right? He wants just constant trades because then the efficiency of his units really start to shine through. And I think we're seeing that.
Absolutely, yeah. If you look at the score, I mean, Mitoe was ahead 4k again, and now he's back. And those guys have to leave again. I mean, they still had a safe silver mine over there, but it's basically done.
And I think, you know, the chat's pointing it out, and I think we need to point it out as well. You know, A's has also lost quite a few hills.
If you look at it, Ace has
war
53
raids.
villagers, and we've got 49 still for Mitoe. So actually, economy.
I think
Talking
59.
economy.
60, isn't it?
60, yeah. Did I say 49? Sorry.
Yeah, so there's actually a villager lead here for Mido, and the resources... See, I still think that Mido has slightly more map control than Aizamk, and just looking at the map, I don't know where Aizank's going to gather food next.
True. I mean, we've got that one hunt here, probably that one hunt here. Oh, God, no, that's a good catch. Look at that. That's a surround made by the gods.
Yeah.
That
War
is
Wagons, very tanky.
so
They're gonna
expensive.
Be able to... Yeah.
What was that? 9 war wagons going down right there?
Yeah. And still quite a few of the Manchu left alive. Although, you know, Mido has done a pretty good job of depleting those Manchu numbers.
Yeah, but that catch was incredibly expensive. Look at the points now. I mean, the score is better for the Russian player right there.
Yeah. And
Econom
this is kind
was
of where
still
the Russian
stronger.
this is kind of where the Russian player starts to really come into his own, right? You
Yeah.
know, Russians have a very strong colonial, a pretty weak mid game, but if you can get the Russian economy into the late game, it does really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely true. But, and that is the big problem here, those war wagons are still giving A's absolute hell in every single fight they're taking. Even, I mean, you look at that surround, right? And he still was able to, I think, kill 2 Manchus just with that surrounded force.
Yeah. Yeah, and just for Russians, I mean, war wagons are a tough thing for them to kind of counter because a lot of their units just fall so quickly that they don't have time to really chop into the war wagons' HP.
Here comes the next engagement, and that's not going to end well for the Falks if he sees it.
Yeah,
But thankfully, that...
No! Oh, he's going to get away!
Glad.
Oh,
Glad to see that for
man.
Mitoe, at least.
yeah, but, are these Okay, so they have the
It has a
TC to
TC.
retreat to.
If
They're going
Mitoe
up.
picks it up soon enough, because he has to... Ah, Mitoe, don't do this to us!
Come on, get in. So one thing I think we should point out is that, you know, Mido has begun the transition to mills and plantations.
Yeah.
I don't know if A's has started that transition yet, but maybe that's why the units for Mido haven't been as much as, you know, we could expect with his economy, just because he's making that transition currently.
That was nice. Double shot right there. And the good thing is he's forcing a fight right now under the TC, which is not beneficial, of course, for the Russian player. And there comes the huge reinforcing mass. Look at that. 19 of those guys. That's basically 6,000 resources right there.
Yeah, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but besides the 2 Falcons, I think Mido's been making strictly war wagons for the past 5-6 minutes.
That's a
and
GG
it's working.
unit against Russia, basically, because the skirms can't do nothing against them at the same time, just because of their huge HP pool. And at the same time, the damage and range especially is just so ludicrously high against the Russian player.
Yeah, you know, I'm starting to wonder if investing in that huge group of Halbs really what Russia needed.
Oh,
I mean,
but
it
now
did
we
tear
see
down some
H4.
infrastructure, but see, I don't know. That's a huge investment of resources. Does he have the breathing room to invest in the industrial age right now? He doesn't really have much for an industrial deck.
Yeah, the question is what he's going to do with that stuff. I think he's going to get the 4th cars, which is called Petron Reforms. Yeah, he's going to go for that, and all his units are going to be H4 within a second or so. But if he takes that fight first, of course, it's not going to benefit him at all. Really
Cossacks
beautiful.
just melting.
I can't believe with all the running around that I see, that we've seen here, all right, with all the running, I can't believe that those 2 guys are still alive, because everything else that was outside of the base has been picked up by now, I think. And there we see the next Opry raid. God, this is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
3 dead vills.
Let me just compliment the map here. This middle river running down the map makes it so interesting because you're basically, there's like a sixth of the map that cannot be built on, and it is equally split among both players. Oh, the Strelate gonna
That
get
could
caught.
be good. I didn't get the shot out, sadly. But by the way, just
Yeah.
pointing this out, Ace actually also invested into the Kalmuks, which are the special Dragoon units that he can send via
Those might
his
be
church card.
Yeah, those are definitely going to be more effective than the units he's had currently. You know, it's been a little bit hard for Mido to get any use out of those Falcons. I think that might be one of the first volleys he's actually gotten off with the Falcons.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I think they have to take 4 or 5 more volleys to actually be, worth their cost so far.
But again, you know, the industrial age, that's great for Russia. But at this point, the composition of the German is very strong. And the German, I'm pretty sure he's completed his transition to, late game food and coin production.
I think completed.
Which I still don't know if Russia has begun that really expensive move.
True. Let's take a look at it. Sorry for not doing it earlier, but I was just so fascinated by the fights down there. And we see it. The big move there for Russia is now going on all those resources. And just something I want to point out. We haven't seen Ace producing a single villager for the last 2 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look at his current food count, too. He's at 250 food, which for a civ like Russia, which needs to train in large batches. So, as Russia, you need to have large amounts of food constantly. Oh, man.
That's so unfortunate because he could just easily send those 2 war wings down there to shut that down, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's how he loses another... Oh, yeah, that was, what, 7 villagers probably?
Well, as I heard a great AoE 3 player once say, villagers are just taking up population space.
Mitoe? What?
Oh, really?
No, I know why. Guys, you want to know why? Because the card, the second upgrade card, extremely increases the score. Look at the score. I'm just going to show you that. It's like advanced fortifications because all the upgrades are counted. Right? So, score. There we go. You see that? He jumped, and it's not worth that because he doesn't have the units, but he has all the upgrades, and that's how the points are counted. So... he got from 26,000 up to 42. That's basically a 16,000 point improvement. He just lost the game, but he didn't lose it.
At the same time.
No, the problem is Mitoe is in chat right now seeing this, and it's 16k. That card is worth that technology in the church with the church card is worth 16k points. He was ahead. He was winning this fight, basically. In my opinion.
Absolutely. I think if that had gone on longer, I think Mito's composition would have definitely started to overpower Aizank's. And you have to remember, Aizamk had just dropped 1,600 wood into just getting access to food. So his military, production have been consistent for another minute or 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I liked where Mitoe was there. I'm sad that he resigned.
Honestly, me too, because that was just such an incredible game. And I love the fact that Ace was a bit, running into the war wagons all over the place. So it was a really, really even game. And it's sad to see Mitoe resign due to that fact. But again, I get the argument that he wasn't too happy with his eco at that point.
No, I understand. I see it, MFT. Okay, it took me a while to get it. But what Mito's doing here is he wants to entertain the masses, right? He wants to come back from a 3-1 or a 3-0 deficit. I think that's what it is. And he thought to himself, I think that the audience deserves real show here.
Well, I'm not a person to often do quotes, right? But guys, are you not entertained? And while speaking about being entertained, Pagoplay, thanks a lot for a huge rate of 16 people. We just hit the 200 people mark. I think that's a first for these Sunday Rumbles, and I'm quite happy to see all of you here.
Hopefully this isn't too loud. I'm clapping into my mic, but no, I have to applaud
perfectly
that.
Fine. 200
awesome. Viewers,
and you just pulled it off, Pago. You just pushed those over the edge, so I'm quite thankful for the raid. And guys, happy to have you here. For all the new people and all those that we have, forgotten over the last 2 matches.
Gentlemen, welcome back.
We've got Ace and Mitoe facing off in a 2 town center tournament, basically best of 7. And the clue is, the interesting thing is they start with either 2 TCs as on this map, or with 1 TC already built and a TC wagon. So it's going to be interesting.
Wow. My first time coming back to cast Aizamk games in 4 years. What a reunion this has been. I cannot wait for game 4. And selfishly, I'm going to be rooting for Mido here because I don't want this to end.
Me
At
neither.
least not yet.
It has been a blast so far, and I also want this to continue, in all honesty. Yeah. What a great thing to see so far. I'm just looking at the group because messages are blowing up all over the place.
Yeah, it looks like they're talking about the map.
All right. Perfect. Yeah, the overlay is set up so far. So I'm going to put you guys in the pre-match part. There we go. So that's how far we are in. Yet we have got 3 matches. Yeah, 3 matches are done, and the 4th one is coming up now. The first matchups were quite interesting. The second game, I think, probably takes the crown for the shortest game that's ever been casted. At least
we might
on DE.
check the books, but I think we might have set a record there.
Yeah. 5:32, and the thing was over. How? Well, you will have to check it to see.
So the one useful thing about this current glitch that I'm having with spectator mode is that I can go back and see the treasures that were on the map.
And how many grizzlies were on the 300 coin
These treasures are absolutely insane.
Oh.
Like there's a 200 XP. There's the 300 coin, another 200 XP. The smallest treasure I have found so far is 80 food. That's the smallest one I've found.
So that's the cheap stuff. All right, yeah.
Yeah. 100 XP, 175, 265 coin.
I mean, I do get it, honestly, because
yeah,
double the economy, double the treasure, of course.
Could you imagine, playing like a Lakota on this map where you can convert guardians? Because most of these guardians are deserted skirmishers, deserted musketeers, gunmen. I mean, some pretty powerful guardians.
Don't forget that Lakota actually, I mean, the guardians get kind of nerfed once you transform them, just to make sure that you don't just rush them with your Pokemon army. But it's actually, I'm thinking about the card, what's it called? Not Morning Star, but I think Evening Star, that gives you X Riders the ability to do extra damage to treasure guardians and pick up treasures. And also, all the treasures that you pick up are doubled. Look at that.
I mean, even if you stick with vanilla, I mean, Russia, the Polar Explorer card would be a viable option here because you would get that War Dog and your Explorer would become vastly better at killing treasure guardians, and it would really allow you to pick up some of these major treasures. Wow.
True.
I'm looking at this and I'm doing the math in my head. If you were to just dominate the treasure game, you could gather 1,000 coin to FF and never ship 700 gold.
That sounds disgustingly good. But I mean,
I know.
Basically what he did here was 300 wood, 700 coin, and there we go.
Yeah, that's
quite
incredible.
Damn beautiful as well, in my opinion.
That's got to be my favorite map of the pool so far.
Yeah, by the way, for those guys who are anxious and what's the next map's going to be, actually we are going to play on Cascade Range, which is, I don't know how to describe it, but I think probably the map that I was the most interested in of the map pool, just because that's a map that has really scarce resources, so you don't have a lot of stuff going on there. You are very, very fast with going through your hunts, with going for your wood, coin, all that. You have 2 ponds with a little bit of fish in there, but still, and the map is rather aggressive, so map control is important here. Basically, we have a map that's not made for long games, and you have 2 TC starting there, so let's see who utilizes their tempo best on this map.
I have a good feeling about Mido, though. I think that third game, we saw, the Mido that we were used to, and he was putting in some really solid micro, despite a couple of Vil raids.
True.
I think he's ready to go. I would not be surprised to see a game 5 at least.
And I would absolutely be happy to see that, to be honest. I'm mostly interested in the matchup because we saw a lot of good civs so far. I mean, Haudenosaunee, of course. I, as a Haudenosaunee main, can just say, "Mwah, what a gameplay!" But at the same time, I'm interested because we haven't seen China from Mitoe so far, which he's always been very much known for. And some others as well, some fan favorites, which I'm looking forward to. Ace just saying they are starting the game, and there we go. I will again load into game, update the panel before I start and transition into the game itself, so we have a nice and neat matchup screen. And also we are going to see if the TC wagons are spawned in the middle of the map again, like we just saw beforehand. There we go.
Absolutely incredible.
We are seeing 2 civs that we already saw so far. But now, speaking about Mito's China.
Right.
Oh god, this is going to be good, I think. This is going to be really good.
Yeah. Now, this is going to be interesting because I have watched a lot of port games from Aizamk. Now, granted, they were older games, but Aizamk always preferred a bit of a more aggressive style. And I wonder if that's going to continue here with the 2 town centers, or if he just tries to, you know, use the advantage that he gets with extra town centers as port and just boom all over China's face.
Yeah, I do think that he needs to be aggressive, or at least to be some kind of more defensive, at least than Mitoe was before playing Portugal. Because here he has to fight against Mito's China, and we know that if Mitoe knows a civ, then it is probably China, with all the stuff that we've seen him play with that civ. And good old H2 aggression is absolutely viable there on that map, especially because you can just take the map and can take so much control and the control over the few resources that are actually on the map as well. So let's see how that plays out. I'm just going to set up the overlay, if you give me a second, and perfect.
Even some potential for some water play here as well. See, I wonder, would it be good to set up one of your town centers by one of these lakes? Or would it just be more beneficial to plop it down in the middle of the map?
I think it's the middle of the map. But let's see. We are going to see in a second, and exactly right now. There we go. Spyglass already out. Let's see what... Oh yeah, Ace just spotted the other TC. He just wanted to make sure he exactly knows where it's going. So, makes sense. And the first TC goes down for Ace. And I think that's like the first chess move, right? Because
right.
Ace knows that Mitoe knows what happens here. Mitoe knows that Ace knows that Mitoe knows, and so on and so forth. So this is already... The mind games are starting right there and then, in my opinion.
It looks like Mido might be moving his back home. Interesting. Wood treasure coming out for Mido. Hopefully he can get that in time before...
Yeah, pretty sure.
On the map. I think he'll be able to pick it up.
Yeah,
yep.
Wang Lang is right there to get it. And of course, as a European scout, which is probably one of the worst scouts in the game nowadays, you don't want to meddle with the Kung Fu.
No.
Felter Toby actually calls him the Kung Fu grandpa.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you have the disciple there to back him up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it looks like Mido is going to go for a more defensive placement for his town center, which I don't necessarily disagree with, although it is going to mean that he's surrendering map control to the Portuguese.
Mitoe actually called his deck How Not to Play. So, well.
Oh, excellent.
Haim, by the way, Haim2K18 is asking how it is that he can't find Mitoe on the leaderboard. I don't think Mitoe is actively playing ranked at the moment. So, generally speaking, doesn't mean he has no practice, of course. There are a lot of players who would be happy to play with Mitoe in lobby games and so on and so forth, which would be better results anyways than playing quick search these days. That is why you might not be able to find him right there.
Yeah, and now we've seen a pattern of Aizamk going for these really quick age ups.
Yeah.
And Port does have a pretty fast age up, so I'm going to be interested to see at what time he actually clicks up.
Very into spice trade build. Interesting idea, but no. Nowadays we start with something else. Fetorias, which, I mean, Hazza, you already know the card, right? I don't think I have to explain that to you. But for everybody else who doesn't know the card, maybe you just turned in right now and hasn't watched Age for the last 2 months. That thing basically gives a trickle, you see it. 0.3 food, 0.15 wood, coin, and XP on each TC you have. So for ports, that's already a good, interesting start. But it's getting better since you get another TC as ports, of course. So 3 TCs, that's quite a decent buff, especially to XP generation on a map without a TP line. It's nerfed,
And
yeah. Sorry.
And as far as I know, Master Universe, there are no limits to the Civ. We have only seen Legacy Civs so far. Doesn't mean we won't see them if this goes for more than Game 4.
Absolutely. There hasn't been any kind of gentleman's agreement or nothing in that direction, to be honest. So I don't know if they just want to play those civs, but it makes sense that Mitoe is more versed on his older, on his old favorites, I'd say.
Now, here's where I have a question for you, MFD.
Yes.
We've seen from Game 1 that China is pretty strong with this extra town center. Definitely makes Northern Refugees an even more viable card. What do you think Mido will do with it?
It's hard to tell, honestly, but I do think that as port, you can't really, or you don't really want to go on water here, I think, in the sense of fully commit on water, because there's no whales, there's nothing, so I think Mito knows that as well. So he has to count on the second TC being either put forward or somewhere in the middle, so a land TC, and I'm not too sure, depending on the position of that TC, if he can actually push in there. I would love to see some good H2 aggression, something similar to what Ace did in the first game, but honestly, I'm probably not the expert you want to ask here, since I usually don't start with 2 TCs China. For those guys who are asking why 2 TCs, that's just the game mode they're playing right now. It's a 2 TC start. 1 TC wagon starts in the middle, and the other 2 just spawn regularly. So.
And the interesting thing about it is that those second TCs are not automatically placed. So the players get to decide where they are going to put that TC. That's why you see A's has 1 at his home base, 1 in the middle, whereas Mido has 2 at his home base.
Oh God, look
is
at
he
that.
Walling in the
quick walls. No, one thing, I know what Ace is doing, I think. First of all, he took the time to get those 2 TPs, or at least to, nowadays not get them, but kind of claim them, right? And he's got native treaties, which might either be a fake out or a goddamn wonderful, beautiful decision right there. Because if he takes those 2, he gets Clamata Nocta, which is Pike and Skirm. And that's actually quite a lot of sieging power there with the Clamat, if I remember correctly.
True. And I like his town center placement too, because he's locked up what looks like Mido's 3rd or 4th hunt, as well as a coin mine.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Also, basically, if you look at line of sight right there, if that thing is built, then he just needs a house or something over here, and he knows the entire map, basically. Everything that's going in, he will be seen by him.
Yeah, I don't know if Mido's planning to do anything aggressive, though.
Our German settlers, German's consulate, that means he's going to go for the trickles, which is just going to buff his economy quite heavily. Yeah. Look at that, 1.5 food trickle, 1.25, 1.65. So that's quite good if he gets those through.
I think he might be going for something. Oh, no.
Look at the counter here.
Coming out?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Because those guys are just going to make short work of the pikes if Mitoe. Yeah, first one down. I think we're going to see 3 or 4. Oh, come on.
Yep. Very nice.
Yeah, 3 at least. I was hoping that I don't mess that prediction up.
And that was a good anticipation by Mido, because, you know, all 3 of these games, Aizamk has kind of gone for a lot of early siege potential. So maybe realizing, okay, what can ports do to siege down buildings early? They can build pikes. Oh no, sandwich.
Not in a delicious way right there, because that is just terrible. If you don't know, guys, they are supposed to be counters for pikes, of course, but not when the pikes are, you know, poking their eyeballs out. That's just not how it works.
Especially with the Minutemen. Just, again, maybe a bit of an overreach by Mido, and we've seen that a couple of times where he's gotten a little greedy, and you know, Aizamk has had those really nice pops, and he's been able to kind of clean it up. But the flamethrower with more Chukunu on the way. Not a lot of anti-cav, but at the same time, I don't think
we don't
Aizank's
have
planning on building any cav at all.
Now we don't have a stable yet, so not too scary right there. But this fight might be scary. I mean, good. The Minutemen have tickled down a lot, but with the 8 in reinforcing crossbows, this still might be a fight he does not want to take.
Yeah, but at the
Ooh,
same
look at
time,
that.
that flamethrower counters every single unit that Aizamk currently has. And some villagers getting caught out here as well, even able to knock down one of those vills that was on the hunt, maybe a little bit outstretched.
With the town center, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe China's got a bit of momentum here. The big thing is, you know, he can't overreach because one of those town centers still has the Minutemen pop, and you definitely don't want to get too greedy and have another nasty sandwich like we saw earlier.
Oh, another dead villager. 41, by the way, to 28. This is huge.
Yeah.
And of course, that is the same villager lead that we saw before when we had France against China. Why? Because those two TCs can actually build villages during the transition, so that's even more powerful.
Yeah. See, now this is where I'm kind of wondering if the aggressive placement of the town centers is backfiring just a bit, because now it means that producing villagers from that TC, those villagers are always going to be under threat, and they're going to spend more time belled up than, say, Mito's second town center, which is far more safer in the back of his base.
But he has to get away from you now because he has to. He doesn't have to, but I don't really trust his Chukunu in the direct confrontation. Yeah.
But I mean, good news here for Mido. He was able to get that second pop of Minutemen, and those Minutemen weren't really able to get into the fight right away, which you could consider, you know, a small win because they're going to degrade over time, and that's you know, 300 resources that just aren't being used.
But look at it now. That trading post is going up. Oh, but he's not going to get both. He's not going to get both. He doesn't finish building that one in time.
No. Yep, definitely has to focus on the army here, not the town center, but he is getting some good trades here. Pikemen a bit outstretched, and the crossbows, they're kind of being blocked by that native settlement. They weren't able to reinforce like they should have. He might lose this town center. Yeah, I think it's going to go down.
Yeah, certainly. And look at that. The native treaties are now coming in, but I don't think he wants to send that because even though it's now finished in time, he's not going to get it out here. And I think he needed that kind of shock value from popping out straight off the TC into the master.
Now, I wondered, yes, I was just about to say 7 Steeper Riders are exactly what he needs because remember, in that first fight, he did kill a lot of the pike. And so there's very little anti-cav. And, you know, Steppy Riders aren't the best cav, but they can make pretty short work of crossbows.
Yeah, absolutely true. And now 29 villages to 51. Look at that vill advantage. Economy should be going crazy for Mitoe. I'm just seeing one small problem, one small danger right there. Namely, he might be over-gathering in the sense of if he takes all the resources around here, and you see that a lot of his had already taken right there, that might not end up well for him.
Yeah, he is doing a nice job picking off the clubmen, which he cannot allow those clubs to get into melee.
He actually had those steps in the back the entire time. He knew that he was going to be spotted here probably, and he had those on the furthest, furthest away from the TC. Really beautiful, just making sure that his enemy doesn't know that those exist.
Yeah, I definitely like the Chinese composition here as opposed to the port one. Maybe a switch to muskets here might be what he needs. Another town center going up. I don't know if I love that placement. I mean, it is going to make it harder to push into that area, but doesn't really secure any additional
the fort
resources.
would be... you don't forget, the problem is, if you get the map here, then you are... I mean, we probably have 3 more minutes of resources for Mitoe on his map. We look at those guys, we look at those guys, that's it. There are no more hunts on his part of the map. Next hunt is over here, and those are all Aza's hunts, so this might be ugly. Might get ugly really, really soon.
Yeah, that is true.
He's Ace. What he's... Oh, God. Ronins. Are you kidding me?
Are you serious?
That is so... that is so Ace. Right there.
Oh, man.
The age-up is going through now for China, by the way.
That's true. And I like how Mido has built his base here. It's going to be really hard to push in and do a lot of damage, especially to his economy. He's built a nice wall with these high HP buildings like the town center. And The War Academy could pop out units at any time. Looks like Ace is going to get out of there. Losing quite a few Chuko... Or no, sorry. Losing quite a few crossbows.
One... Oh, the villager, come on. No, all right.
Oh,
Then not. Oh,
I think that...
maybe not.
Is that villager going to valiantly fight off the Chinese invaders? Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it, no.
Where's that batch of cav?
Oh, God. Good call. Yeah.
Speaking of...
I mean, I'm a
Going
bit sad that he's fighting against Minutemen right there and didn't get a few villagers, I think. But 31. Right. No, I think he actually got a villager. 31 to 60... No, 57.
Oh, wow. The question is, are those villagers going to be able to gather resources to take advantage of that economy?
True. Yeah.
And right now, it's getting pretty sparse on Mito's side of the map. And you're going to have to get through a lot of town centers and a lot of hit points worth of buildings if you want to get out to those middle hunts.
Absolutely. He's on the clock for certain. And also, don't forget that China usually really likes a good XP curve and, you know, an Erling trading post and so on and so forth. He doesn't have that. He also doesn't have the T export card. The tea leaves card, which gives him extra export. So
those Minutemen are basically going to be insta-killed, and that's going to be 3 more vills, or at least 1 more, possibly 2.
I wonder why he... Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, God.
Oh, no. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Oh, he might just make it.
Oh. That would have been... Oh, that would have been brutal right there and then.
Same catch. Ah, man. At the same time, like... I really like the position China's currently in. They're in the Fortress Age.
But it's a position that could go badly, I think, in a second or so. Those guys are certainly on the Germans right now, which is good. Doesn't make the armies cheaper now. But it's not too much mass, honestly. I think the Cav, if he's... Does Mito have Cav on the way? Oh, yeah. Once that thing comes in, 5 meteor hammers,
I think he's going in. At this point, the anti-Cav is just not enough. And the Chuko, now that they are disciplined, are going to be able to knock those out pretty quickly.
Oh, and look what's coming out. Yeah, he's training disciples like a mean bastard.
Oh, I hate disciples. God, they are so effective in the most annoying of ways.
God, and
those. But look at the Ronin.
Look at that in the back.
Some work up front. Oh, speaking of sandwiches.
Yeah, now look at. I think we are gonna go. We're gonna go on and see game 5 after this. Look at the score dropping down and below. Oh, and the GG's.
There we go, Mido. Yes. Oh, that's what we wanted to see.
Yeah, well, I've got to slow you down right there. Sorry, guys, just to make sure you guys are not misunderstanding our applause there. We are not in favor of Mito here. We don't.
Absolutely not.
The better players should win. Not. So whoever that is here.
Yes, we are on, and I hopefully speak for both of us, we are on the side of entertainment.
Absolutely.
And so, for the sake of entertainment, we want more games.
Absolutely.
So, yes, no favoritism. Aizamk, of course, is equally an insanely fun player to watch. But I do love seeing Mido taking one and not getting swept, because Mido, good enough player that being swept is not becoming of a guy like Mido.
Look at those numbers, by the way. I mean, that speaks volumes. If you have Chinese units just completely clearing you all the time, and that, I mean, the fights he took, that was just very well calculated by Mito, in my opinion. But
yeah, and I think pulling back and not fighting for the middle of the map, I think that's what really kind of started that ball, because every villager he produced was able to immediately go to resources, and didn't really have to be built up until the later stages of the game. And he made that push just in time, because if you look at the resources, he's basically out.
True. If you look at that, I mean, that hunt is gone basically over here. I think there's 2 more animals and that's it. And just one thing that we've seen in the first game as well, I do think, in the second game, Portugal.
This I like a lot.
Portugal doesn't scale very well. It doesn't like a 3rd TC, I think. We didn't see it in the second game, I admit that, okay? But here I think we saw, because you don't really get that much food to fully feed 3 TCs without any cost reduction or anything, while also producing army. I just don't see that happening.
And it's the game mode itself, right? It almost takes away Portugal's flavor, right? It almost takes away the thing that makes Port special, because yeah, they do get, an extra town center on top of it. But having the extra TC is kind of Port's thing. And so giving that to all of the players, I don't know. I think it just brings Port down in a way.
No, just take a look at this. This is the Will curve, right? And this is for Ace. Slowly going up to 31. And then he has a long dry period where he basically can't produce anything. Nothing here. You see that?
Exploring the backside. Wow.
Yeah, and even those 30 vills, I would say probably 7 to 10 of them were locked up in those forward town centers.
Yeah. You see that? Stuff going up pretty strongly for Mitoe here. And then looking at just military unit count, military unit population, that's the one. Yeah. First engagement a bit better, of course, for Ace, but after that, just the scaling was better, taking good fights here, and then the scaling here was insane. Third age, in you go. That's it. Beautifully done. So, we actually will see a game 5, and I think they're going to start in a second or so. I'm already seeing the first pick, and you guys are going to... Well, I don't know. Some of you will like that, some of you won't. It's a controversial civ to some. But I'm going to put you in a transition for a second there. Oh.
Still at 200 viewers.
And we actually got up to 211, I think. So, guys, I'm really glad to have all of you here. I think we broke the record from the last few casts that we had here. So, just a teeny tiny bit proud of ourselves. What do you say?
I would agree wholeheartedly. I think this has been incredibly entertaining. And I just want to say, to the chat, thank you guys for your insight. I've been watching as we've been looking at the games, and they are making, so many good points that I love the fact that our community is able to constantly analyze games, and rather than, criticizing the players or saying what they would do better, they say, well, here's why this or this is happening. I just think that's the sign of a healthy community.
Absolutely agree there. And speaking of a healthy community, let's try and get on with those. There we go. Cross A's goes 3 points, and Mitoe got his first win. There we go. So, for all of those guys who just joined during this last game, here we go. Transition is up, and hopefully you should see... Yeah, there we go. You can see the scoreboard now. And looking back at the games that we saw so far, which one would you already recommend that people who haven't watched anything else rewatch? If they can just rewatch one of those, which one would be your pick?
I would say game 3, the Russia versus Germany.
Oh yeah,
that was just an excellent back and forth. Game 2 was entertaining in the fact that it was really short. But if you want something where you're not sure which player's winning until the very last second, game 3.
Fully agree there.
Yeah. But game 4, that was also a really good one. That one was a little bit more clear, kind of the last minute and a half, 2 minutes of who was in the driver's seat. If you want pure classic Aizamk, game 2.
Yeah, absolutely, game 2. That's a game that you would usually, if you think about Ace, that's what you would think about, I think, too. God.
Yeah. That almost needs to be made a separate video.
Yeah.
Posted onto ESOC. Just... watch a war chief single-handedly take down a TC in a 5-minute game.
True. That one action, that 2 torches, it took 2 torches to bring down that Portuguese colony in Alaska.
Yeah. And let's keep in mind, that was a town center that was currently being auto-built, which those buildings can sometimes be trickier to take down because you got to keep up with the rate at which the building is going up. So just adds in an extra layer of impressiveness that he was able to take it down so quickly.
Absolutely agree here. So let's see if they're already saying that they're starting. No, just taking a short pause there, I think. But so far, so good.
Wow. I almost am... I'm wondering, what is the 5th map of the pool?
The 5th map is a good one. Again, oh yeah, Mongolia. So one of those absolutely classic... 1v1 maps, I think.
Yeah, I want to know, because, Mongolia was a popular map back in Legacy. I want to see how significantly it's been altered. I remember
Um,
India being an incredible civ on Mongolia.
Oh yeah, I
back in
agree.
the
I
day.
usually in the German league when I play in the German league, then I usually also play India there just because it's fun.
Yeah,
But
but
I mean, you are seeing my stream, right? So
yes,
I would
yes, I
just
am.
quickly load into that while we wait for the next game to come up, so you can actually see it.
Ah, wonderful. I cannot wait.
So
All
the
right.
interesting thing there is still, I mean, that's the map. India mirror on Mongolia. Interesting idea. Could be, could be. But then I think Ace might depends. Ace might be a bit ahead probably if that happens.
Right. Yeah.
Because the meta with India has heavily changed during this last 2 months because the Agra 4 is not that favored anymore. Kanimata is just so strong with the bigger range as well as the bigger gathering bonus.
Yeah. You know, I think I think it kind of depends on what ELO you're at. I think lower ELO players still like the aggro just because of how,
Yeah,
much easier it is to play than a Carney start.
true, yeah.
Um, Especially the ELO that I play on. Kind of that 1350 to 1400 range. You're not going to see a lot of Carnies. Um, but I like this map.
Yeah,
It has a lot of the same features as the old one. I think the resources, it's a little bit more abundant in resources than the old Mongolia.
yeah. I
But
think they
still,
generally increase the hunt numbers on these maps in comparison to the original version, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. But still a long rush distance, which means that, both civs can be encouraged to boom. You have a very long walk to the trading post, which sometimes it deters players, but sometimes it means that players spend a lot of time trying to secure that. Because as the opposing player, it's such a pain in the neck to try to get out and contest that line.
Absolutely agree there. But that's kind of the thing, right? That makes it even more tactical than the usual operation that you have when you play with a trade route. Because most trade routes are somewhat in the middle or going from one side to the other, so all players are kind of involved. But here it's such a detour to get there if you're not interested in it, but you have to take it away from your enemy, so that just
Right.
gives it so much more value.
But we do have to remember that this is two towns, and so you might be able to kind of fashion a closer spawn point to the trading posts if that's something you want to focus on. And you got to remember, the trading line is where a lot of those resources are. I think there's probably, looking at your view, I'm seeing like 4 or 5 hunts and 3 full silver mines up there. So definitely not a part of the map you want to ignore.
Absolutely agree. Oh, and I think, sorry, I just messed up the transition period, looks like. But livecast is already on. There we go. That stuff is on. Yeah, sorry for that one, Josh, if you're ever watching this part, I messed up. But if you guys are ready, we are ready as well, so let's get it started, I'd say.
And there were people that were asking, are we only going to see legacy civs? And you have gotten your answer.
Yeah, true.
Because it looks like
Mexico.
we're seeing something a little bit different out here.
Ladies
Mexico.
and gentlemen, welcome
Now,
back.
you're going to have to help me out because Mexico on higher ELOs, I know Two Town's going to kind of throw a wrench in it, but what is the play versus a civ like Japan, which historically Japan has never done well against early pressure?
In my opinion, it's just not absolutely, but I think if you play it right, definitely Mexico favored because the Insurgente are dirt cheap, but are really efficient at taking down your shrines. So it's really hard to keep up your shrine population. At the same time, you have strong musketeers, you have decent skirms later on, and you have a cav that is, I think, anti-cav and anti-skirm at the same time. So Yumi masters can actually be approached with that cav, depending on how big the mass is, of course. So
And as Japan,
Mhm.
not having an effective, well, so with Japan you have Yumi, right? And Yumi are not the best at kiting, which against in Insurgente Rush you kind of need to be able to kite effectively just because they're such a fast unit, and if they get up close they do a lot more damage than they otherwise should. But yeah, I don't know, it'll be interesting for sure.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the deck. Nothing yet so far from Ace, but a TP start from Ace, certainly. Let's look at his deck. Oh, God. You seeing this deck? This deck looks like an F5 for me, or some kind of H4 play. And if he's willing to go H4 against Japan, then that's That's dangerous, I think.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's interesting to see Mido as well, again, going for a more conservative town center placement. Maybe he's scared of that early Mexico rush that they're so famous for and wants to be prepared for it.
Yeah, but he is going rather greedy, or at least somewhat greedy with the Portuguese consulate start. At the same time, I just find it funny because, guys, we talked before having this cast, right? And we said, yeah, and there are things that you realize once you're a bit of a better player, you don't send that stuff usually. And now we are seeing actually 300 wood, which was one of the casts that we don't talk about. But in some matchups, it's quite good.
Oh man, I have been conflicted for years on how good 300 wood can be, and the fact that it's being sent in this game is you can't see it, but I am beaming from ear to ear.
Oh, I can believe it at least. Well, let's see how they keep that going. Now, actually, we're seeing trading posts from Mitoe as well. I think he's doing 2 trading posts. What the hell is that? That's an interesting start. So he's probably just adapting on the fly here, but I like
Yeah,
it.
and it's possible that he wants to be prepared for, you know, the Mexican aggression by getting out some units possibly earlier, you know, the 5 Yumi, 5 Ashi.
I'm just looking at the deck, and I mean, you have to help me, guys, especially the chat. This is I'm not too sure if I get all the cards right, but I do think that's quite the standard deck, with the exception of that card in H2. Sustainable Agriculture is usually swapped out, I think, for either a different unit or another upgrade or something, but I'd say usually still a rather normal-ish deck.
Yeah. See, I wonder if Mido. So, if Mido plays in a reactionary way to what he thinks is going to be early aggression, and then Aizamk just doesn't pull, you know, those punches at all, and he goes for more of a you know, revolt build. I don't know. Maybe Mido could be caught looking for something that never comes, but I do like how he's going with the port consulate and he's not completely forsaking, you know, a more boomy economy just to be ready for the rush.
By the way, more boomy economy. 9 yucks for Mitoe actually, and only 2 for Ace. So that's actually still quite strong for our Japanese player right there. Then. So
Yeah.
depends on what he's aging up with. The problem that I see is the tempo already, because we have Ace already being through with his age up and Mitoe not even starting to age, which could be a bit dangerous. Oh god, please. There are a few threats with Mexico. There's a death rush where you basically are in the enemy's base with 15 to 20 muskets at 430 or something, which doesn't apply here. But if he does that, then well, would be a quick way to end this and lose it for him, I think.
Yeah, it's all going to depend on if Aizamk is planning to punish Japan in his build order, or if he is planning on something a little bit more late game oriented.
Yeah, true. Age up coming through now with 4 villagers, so he is investing in that. Also investing in a heavy shrine boom, and now all those hunts around his base, of course, are going to pay off, just like you said. Quite populated this area is.
Yeah.
By the way, still, we are peaking again at 210 people watching, so I'm quite glad to actually have gotten so many of you off your couch, or on your couch, doesn't matter, but still, you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, the retention has been fantastic, and, you know, we're at the 530 mark. We haven't seen anything too crazy from Mexico yet.
Oh, no, that's it, that's the start. You start with steel traps, and then you just go full on, raging musketeer insurgente mask, and that just wins you the game.
Man.
Or it can. Let's see.
I have to admit, insurgentes, I hate them. They are such a bothersome unit.
Yeah, especially that unit would be subpar on all accounts if you couldn't train them in pops of 10. But that is just so strong, and that is just going to make quick work. Look at it. Oh, he even buffs them with the damage buff. What's that?
Yeah.
10% damage, yeah.
Well, they are the anti-cav version of Strele, you know, in a way. And as Strele are kind of annoying in the fact that killing them isn't really useful because they are just so cost-effective. You know, these Insurgente are just so irritating, and they're so fast, too.
Let's take a look here. Mitoe actually sending in 600 coin. The first card in H2 was 4 villagers, by the way. A's revolts. Ah, okay, it's Central America. That's the one where you actually get villagers. I think seven villagers sent straight to you, but you don't get to do anything else.
Okay.
But in the meantime,
Yeah.
oh, that's so good. What he's doing here is he's basically entering a sort of mid area. He's somewhere between age 3, age 2 and 3, but he can revolt, so unrevolt basically back to age 4 if you haven't known that.
Right.
So
Right.
rather weird mechanic, but he's looking as it looks like he's really going for a hard hold there and going for age 4.
Yeah, and look at the score as well. I mean, we're already looking at about a 3,000 point gap.
That thing does overscore a bit, I think.
Right. That is true, but I mean, these insurgentes are starting to tear down a lot of Japan's infrastructure. The one thing we can say is that Japan has gotten almost no pressure since the beginning of the game.
Nothing
and
directly.
So this more boomy style hasn't been punished yet.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And the gold mine is also not touched so far. We see the golden pavilion going up and all those things. So, I mean, those 10 insurgenti are getting work done, not going to lie. I think there was 2 shrines, 1 TP. The next one's going to fall as well. So the trade line is probably going to belong to Ace in a second. But he's already unrevolting at 8 minutes. That means we're going to see H4 in... Well, what's it going to be? I think A9:15 or something?
Yeah. And what, just to double check, what's the villager count currently for Japan?
42 for Ace and 44 for Japan, actually. That's the problem. Right
So-
now, don't forget, he has
Yeah.
2 TCs and they're both idle. That's important.
That is true. I don't know. But at the same time, I think Mexico's actually done a pretty good job with their economy as well, in addition to the pressure.
Absolutely true. And look at what we are going to see here, probably. He has all those H4 cards. He can just put those out and then he's golden again. I mean, 7 villagers, more or less. That's what a factory is worth, I think, with upgrades at least, depending on what you put it on.
Yeah, and that's true. And, you know, age 4 Mexico is a scary thing to deal with, but at the same time, another scary proposition is to take on age 3 Japan that hasn't been damaged.
Yeah. So this is going to be quite the flex if Ace can pull this off, actually. And he's going for a lot of food right there. Let's see if he has got any shipments that are bought with food. Oh yeah, there's the good music. You hear that?
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
But nothing so far with food as far as I can see. And he's sending... Oh god, he's going to go age 4 insurgente spam. Equips all insurgentes with muskets to improve... What?
Oh,
Improve
are
their
you
train
serious?
speed. Oh no, he's just gonna eat all the food in the world and it's just gonna spam an incredible mass of insurgente. If I'm not mistaken this here.
And see, what is Japan going to do to counter that? I mean, they've already got some infantry out. Infantry that's, you know,
Yeah.
much stronger than insurgentes, but it might just be a game of numbers here.
Yeah, Mitoe needs to make something happen military-wise, because that's an army, once it's on your army, he can just... That fight is gonna go for some time, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also not a trade you want to be taking. You don't
Absolutely
necessarily want to be, you know, trading your fairly expensive Japanese units for very cheap
Yeah,
insurgentes.
But also look at that, right? 109 HP against those disciplined Ashigaru, which have 31 attack. So 4 of those one-shot, and let's not start with Yumis. I mean...
Oh yeah, and then, you know, 2 flaming arrows as well. The thing that you don't want to allow, and I've been victim of this many times, is the minute that Japan gets a good Yumi mass out, oh my god, it's so
It's a
hard to
pain.
push into.
It's an absolute
Yeah.
pain. Oh, but look at that. Mitoe is actually in his age 3 place interrupted because he has to send those 2 cherry orchards. I know it's the perfect time for that. Usually it takes that long. Oh, he's actually out of resources already. Yeah, probably because he has more villagers, of course.
Yeah.
But
And I mean,
still,
we can't understate
unfortunate.
that A's has really seized most of the map.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, I think, I don't know. I almost wonder if the much earlier colonial aggression might have been slightly more effective. The fact that Japan's been able to build up is a bit worrisome. But
Yeah.
at the same time, A's not in a bad spot at all.
The problem is, I think against a lot of other civs, this could more or less work. Wait, is Mitoe. Oh, Mitoe is actually maxed out on shrines. He did it. He did it in the meantime. Wonderful. Good work. But what I wanted to say is Ace is about to have, I think, 80 insurgente because his shipment is going to come out in a second or so.
Are you serious?
Is he going to come out over here? No. Where is it?
Man.
Down there. Yeah, there we go. 74
Oh,
insurgente.
good lord.
And he's just going to, you know, buff those guys. 18 ranged attack is not too shabby either. And they have 5.5 speed. That means Ashigaru can't run.
I mean, hopefully he's got enough shrines out on the map that he'll be able to see this coming, but...
Oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah,
because
it
he's
is.
just going to go directly for the base, isn't he?
At the same time, I mean, Japan has done a really good job building a pretty defensive home base. And, you know, once this army comes home, I don't know.
He's just
it's one of
playing
those
this
situations
insurgente
where,
only.
oh, look at those Minutemen coming out, and oh,
Not doing nothing.
are they gonna get into combat? No, it doesn't look like it. But at the same time, it's a very impressive looking body of units, but against disciplined Ashigarus, I
Those
don't
are
know.
not going to trade 1-2, 2-1, honestly. Those trades are going to be horrible, especially they only have 10 range, imagine that. 20 attack, okay, I get that. 20 attack is okay for a unit as cheap as that. That's much better than a
Right.
Strelid. But if he... I don't know what he's about to do here.
Right, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna push into 2 TCs with, you know, Japan having
Oh, he's
a
just going to
massive
kill that
uni.
thing. Look at the
Okay.
siege damage. 16 siege damage. You have to take the times
is-
2 because they have a quicker attack animation.
That is really
Oh!
impressive, but
That was quick.
yeah. I mean, oh wow, that he did pull that down really quickly.
GPC is asking why they're only vets, because you can't upgrade them any further. There is no H4
Right.
upgrade with a normal H4. With a normal H4.
Oh, look at the response from Mido here. Looks like he's gonna wall in, and
Don't wall against
that's
that.
a lot of
can't.
wood.
Look at that. He can just basically right-click any shrine on the map now. That
Yeah.
kind of siege.
Yeah.
Yeah, what will Warzone do? Absolutely enemies. I don't know. I don't know either, because look at those guys. 72, take that times 30. Let's leave the 2 on the table. So 30, 70, 2,100 damage with one right-click.
And what's oh okay, so some more sieging going up top
Yeah,
of the map.
he's just gonna siege might wherever he can. And he's still
Right.
ahead in numbers, pure numbers. 2 factories out as well. And don't forget those guys, first of all, the upgrades are all through because they're free if you send this one. And the HP are increased by 100%. So if you want to go in there and snipe that,
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
I wonder, is the next move for Aizamk to invest in some artillery here? Because you have the units to protect them, and then you can actually start denting this ball of Japanese infantry that's on the field.
It just feels so weird. All infantry and cavalry train move faster. What the hell is he up to? Look at that. He's got both factories on food. He's just gonna build the biggest food economy you've ever seen.
Goodness. You know, I never thought I'd say this, but he might not have the population space to to do this strategy in the way that would be most effective, because I mean, I don't know. Japan's up to
Japan needs all the army defending their TC right now. They are dead.
Yeah.
That wonder is going to go down. That TC, all of that is going to go down in seconds if he doesn't defend it. And he's just the good thing is that Ashigaru are probably the best counter unit there because they're muskets,
Right.
melee defense, good speed, good attack. But he can just go through and ruin infrastructure.
Oh, good catch here though. Good catch.
That didn't put them into melee though, so they're not being slowed. And look at that, they're just taking shots. And it was dirt cheap for him to do so too. Oh my god.
Yeah. At the same time, I don't know how truly
Oh no, is he actually... Don't go down,
No.
don't.
Get him.
Please don't get effed by your own...
Come on. They're gonna get melted away. How quick can they get through the wall? Come on. Oh man, that's a really good catch by Mido.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because the next 50 or so up there, those are still done. But I mean, he's just pumping out numbers
Right.
beyond numbers.
Right, but you have to remember, this is so taxing on your food economy. And I mean, yeah, you have the 2 factories, but look at the food production back in Mexico's base. He's pretty much eaten through all the food on the map.
Yeah, that's good, I'd say. And now look at that. Salvadorian Coffee ships an additional settler for each shipment you've sent so far this game. That's 12 settlers right there.
Oh,
and then.
look at the flaming arrows. Look at the
Oh,
flaming arrows.
Beautiful.
Oh my good lord.
Damn it. That was... I hope those shots happen again so I can zoom in on that one.
I think Man, I like where Mito is. I really do. I mean, I know this Mexico build is absolutely insane, but Mito has countered it really, really well. He's lost some infrastructure, absolutely, but he's killed so many units.
And Ace has not yet put his trade line, although he has the full thing, he hasn't put it on anything yet. So just XP farming right there and then. I don't think he has any other upgrades for his goddamn units there.
Yeah. At the same time, I think there's going to need to be some sort of tech switch eventually, because if he just continues to run around the map, you know, Japan's going to continue to chase him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if he wants to make a decisive move, he's got to figure out how to deal with the Japanese infantry besides just running away.
But look at those guys now, H4 units, 41 attack. Those guys are just going to cut through any Insurgente mass they find.
Yeah,
oh, but look at that. Ace now going for a bit of skirm composition as well, it looks like.
At the same time, though, with all the flaming arrows, you know, it maybe, and again, not to be a backseat gamer here, but maybe heavy cannons earlier would have been a good shout, because you could have actually stood toe-to-toe against that mass of Ashi and Yumi, and there wouldn't have been anything that the Japanese player had besides the daimyo to counter it.
Can I just do a quick prediction of what I think is going to happen? Because again, it's so Ace. We are going to see Salteadores into Soldados. How is he going to do that? You look at that beautiful card if you don't know it yet. All your Salteadores transform into Soldados. That thing pays itself worth back as H3 cards up. I think if you have at least 20 Salteadores. Those guys are going to be fully 2-pop units, better than any Ashigaru or any other stuff that Mito can throw at Ace right now. So what he wants to do is he wants to pick a fight and wants to make sure he gets Mito into the fight right when that card kicks in, and then he's just going to dismantle the entire Japanese army while raiding all the time with those guys. So look at that mass. He's not upgrading them. He's just making sure he gets the upgrades going. He's going to get guard soldados, and he's going to punch the crap out of the Japanese military right there.
You know, at the same time, you've kind of let Japan get into the spot that every Japan player wants to be, right? You know, fully transitioned into the 4th age with an incredibly strong army, able to use some incredibly strong shipments, with a base that's been damaged but not, you know, made ineffective.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I'm telling you, look at that. The card is coming in. He's going to do that. He's going to musket switch.
Oh, there it is.
And Soldados H4, and now he's. Oh, I love that play, because that's a play that I've played myself in a short time that I actually was enjoying Mexico. So we are going to see the most aces moment so far. Oh, it's going to be ambush.
Maybe he'll run into it.
There's no scout with him either, so that means he can't discover them until he runs into him. So this is going to be so.
Oh, not the flaming arrows.
Oh god, the flag is there. That should tell Mito something. That should tell Mito something.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
480 HP. Those guys are going to rip into that
But
mass.
at the same time, they weren't quite able to get onto the flaming arrows. The Yumi are in the back firing, but it might not be enough. I don't know. This is really close.
Look at the flaming arrows being dismantled, though. I think only one's left.
Yeah.
And
no,
there's just
that was
so many soldados. It's so hard to kill those guys. Completely trashed everything Mito had on the map. Yeah. It's not over yet, but holy cow.
Yeah.
Don't forget, those are 2-pop units.
You are absolutely right. I completely underestimated that card.
And
wow.
Yeah, look at the population space as well. 200. So that's basically 120 population worth of muskets. Oh. By the way, Dragon Fruit asking why the muskets can stealth. No. The Salteadores, the skirms, were stealthed, and what Ace did, he used this card right here that transforms all your skirm units into muskets. And now he's revolted into what? Is that Texans? What the hell?
See, at the same time, Mido countering this pretty well. His base is still intact. Yes, he has lost his army, and that is huge.
Bastion is important.
Yeah, he's not going to make it easy for Aizamk to push into here.
Oh, yeah, but at the same time, those are volunteers, so the American version of a skirm right there. The point is that he has such a huge pushing mass of those 50 plus soldados, and those have to be cleaned up. And look at that, all villagers just went and became skirms.
Oh my. Oh, where's the cav pop when you need it?
Oh, you can't do anything with that because look at the HP of those
Right.
guys. 200 HP, 22 attack. I think that's absolutely GG right there and then.
I don't know, 5 flaming arrows coming through, and they're in a really good spot. They're going to be hard to catch. But no.
Look
No,
at the
I think
look
I
at
think
the
it might
HP.
be wishful thinking on my part.
Absolutely agree. I would have loved seeing A's being pushed back here, but the fact is, we lost most of the soldados already, but there's nothing more. I mean, we've lost half only to dismantle basically the entire base of Mitoe.
Yeah. I don't know. That is ugly.
Yeah.
That is a disgusting card.
Animus, just to answer your question, now that the game is over, GG from Mitoe. Wow. Animus
Wow,
just asked
indeed.
if that's an all-in revolution. It absolutely is not, because you start spawning settlers from a town center. So if you have a few town centers, you get those for free. Just like, yeah. Whoa.
Whoa, indeed.
Yeah, look at that. It doesn't show anymore, but I'm pretty sure that it's just spawns unit. But Ace can probably confirm or deny that. What a last game. God forbid. That was a full-on Ace game. That was full-on Ace, all on through.
Yeah, that was, and you know, Mido played that probably about as well as he could have. You know, he boomed very well, and I think this is a really tough matchup for Japan.
True.
It's really tough.
Yeah, fully agree. And especially that trick is just really, really strong there as well. In the meantime, just for a second to calm down after seeing that cluster F of a game. Wow.
Yeah.
Ace, thank you for doing that, because that was one of my strats as well that I love to do, but wonderful. 240, I saw it peak up to 250 people watching. I think we set a pretty damn good record with those games, and it was only done because those two names really carry weight in the Age of Empires community.
They
so
do.
a huge thank you to both of you guys, Mitoe and Ace, for 5 spectacular games right there.
This I like a lot.
Oh man, I can't believe that we came back to a series that good.
Absolutely. Oh, what a game right there.
Yeah. But you know, I can't
Ladies and
understate the
gentlemen,
fact
welcome
that,
back.
you know, Mido is still such a fun player to watch.
Yeah.
And I think this rivalry, you know, should they choose to do
This I like a
again,
lot.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Mido take quite a few more games, just because, you know, as far as I know, A's is still a pretty active player on the
True.
ranked ladder, and Mido is not. But I mean, A's well deserved. Clearly did his research. Clearly came up with some really interesting builds for this game mode.
Absolutely, man. And by the way, just taking short time, shout out to Car for subscribing again for 29 months in total. Thank you, man. And it was, I generally have to say, I think a lot of other players, especially also top tier players, would have been, you know, completely lost at that point where 19 Sugenta Mars just runs in their base and starts burning down stuff. And the same thing goes for the Russia strat before. I think that we have seen Mitoe just play this very cool-headed, especially his game with China as well, where you could really see that he was not at any point diverted by that forward town center of Ace. And here again, he played it very straightforward. He just got caught off guard by the one thing that Mexico, well, just does best, I think. The unit switch is stronger than anything you see from Russia or any other civ, I do think.
Yeah. No, it was fantastic. And, you know, there are a lot of ways that you can play Mexico, and I was kind of advocating for the really quick colonial rush, but Aizamk was playing the long game, and he proved me wrong. And, you know, for a second there, it looked like he was kind of directionless when Japan had that really nice mass of Ashi and Yumi, and he was just, you know, kind of running around, sieging stuff where he could. But that final move with the stealth units. Yeah, it just goes to show you can never kind of count these kinds of players out because they're playing 8D chess.
Absolutely. That was impressive from all sides. And yeah, we're at the point again where we are a bit, or at least I am a bit speechless, because that was 5 games with full on action. From
Yeah, you were asking me earlier what game would I recommend, and quite honestly, I would recommend 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I can agree on that recommendation. So guys, those out of this stream, those are definitely the games that you have to watch. No matter what you're doing right now, just if you haven't seen it, rewatch it. That's certainly necessary.
Yeah, and I think the one regret I have is that at so many times I was just without words to cast or to call because these builds were so much fun. And it's such a nice callback to, the community that used to be. And when you see the community that used to be interacting with the community that is now, it really just shows that, this game is still alive, it's still healthy, and there are so many more amazing games to come.
Absolutely. Right here and right on this channel, and probably, hopefully, with those players again, because I love the Mitoe content. I love the Ace content, of course, but I have had the fortunate honor to have been casting a few Mitoe games during this last months, and I'm getting hooked. What can I say? As a viewer, as a caster, I want to see more of you, Mitoe. So maybe give that retirement a second thought, please, just for the sake of us old guys as well.
Yeah,
But,
and
yeah.
I think the casting pair. I would love to cast with you again as well, MFD. You are a phenomenal individual to watch games with. I was entertained the entire time.
Honestly, that is just something that I can tell. That compliment is something I can just send right back at you, because what a wonderful cast this was with you, and not just a lot of fun, but also having someone even more experienced than myself here doing this cast with me is just something I can rely on you to find the good pieces of information to get the good thing going, and to also help me out all the time when I'm lost in my German without being able to translate the thoughts into English. So,
absolutely.
wonderful.
Yeah. And I think I heard it earlier, and I told you this before the stream. The fact that you are not a native English speaker, and as an American, I can tell you, and I think Americans that are in the chat can agree, you as a second language speaker speak better English than a lot of people that have language as their first language.
That is
English as their first language.
Very kind of you to say, honestly. But before we, get stuck in this circle jerk, that maybe a few things that we have to mention at least. Big thanks, of course, to Aizamk themselves for letting us cast the series, for putting this whole thing together. Of course, huge shout out also to Revnek for supporting us as kind of the mod behind the scenes, always making sure that we don't mess things up and that I don't mute you by accident. And also a good shout out to the Aizamk partner clans, right? We've got Yuki's Cuties. I think most of you guys know that, of course. Yuki, one of the most active players as well out there. Biblioteca, Free Food Party. Then, of course, Age of Sunbros, good friends of mine as well. Vox from Animus, Nish's Fire Pits, the United Empires clan, of course, House of Jaeger, AOA MC, Royal Clan, of course, FPL, the Iron Realm, and the AOE3 Game Archive. Shout outs to those guys as well. Check them out if you don't know them yet. And I think this is where we cut it off. This is the point where we send you on a journey, and probably if one of the mods can arrange a raid of some kind. So I really love that. Oliveza, I know that I messed up at your cast against Mitoe and said, oh, Oliveza, I haven't heard of him before. But no, Austria is not Bavaria. Forget that one. I'm going to get angry with you.
Oh, man. I'm not even getting into that one. I will stay clear of that conversation.
Yeah, that is a difficult topic. Austrians and Germans and the differentiation that doesn't really exist, but Austrians are so focused on all their lives. Well, let's
Right.
not get too deep into that. But yeah, if anybody, if one of the mods could start a raid, that would be great. Just so we don't waste that huge viewer potential. Because we guys, we want to send you on to enjoy some more good content. I don't think it's going to be as good as what we just saw. In all honesty. No?
Well, we don't want to toot our own horn, even though what made this entertaining was the fact that we had two of the most entertaining players that the community has produced. But yeah, no, I would love to send this over to somewhere else, because at least if you're in the States, the day is still young, and there is plenty more Age of Empires 3 to watch. Or take this time to log on yourselves and try this Mexico build. And I would love to see more of these kind of unique builds from these newer civs, because these newer civs offer a lot more potential for builds that we have not seen before.
Absolutely true. So, Ezard, come on, somebody has to stream, guys. We've got to keep the momentum going. Otherwise, I have to cut this off at this point, which would be quite the waste. But
Oh, he is. I mean, it's not.
Ollie, maybe you? Oh no, Ollie's got to study. Well, Ezard, I don't even. Honestly, it's a bit weird for me to pronounce it in English, because I'm just so used to Ezard instead of Ez. But let's not get too deep into that one. Hey, Ezard, if you are fine taking on 150 people who are hungry for some first division gameplay, then I'm pretty sure we're happy to send them on their way there. So if you're willing to start, that's a good point, I think.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, I do it myself, but I don't think anybody's interested in seeing 1300 ELO Dutch.
Yeah, I see what you mean, man. And now tell me, from your perspective, since it was mostly RE civs, right? Mostly legacy civs and so on and so forth. With that one game that we had where we actually saw Mexico, one of the probably most controversial civs still, with some of their features, especially those scaling cards. What do you think? Would you prefer legacy only action, or is that fine as well?
Well, as far as where they rank in terms of each other, and again, take this opinion with a major grain of salt, I think legacy standard play is still incredibly strong. I think it still holds up very well. I think just the unfamiliarity with a lot of players of these new civs, and not knowing what these units are, what these cards are, what to expect. I always like good legacy games, but watching the two mingle, and you get to see this nice clash of the standard meta, this has worked for years and years and years, versus this is kind of the new hip, groovy play style that relies less on send your 700 wood, ship 8 skirms, and more of these unique cards. I really like it when they mingle.
Absolutely agree. I like the way you put that, because that's kind of where I want to be with those new civs coming in, enriching the experience and not destroying the whole thing. We had some game destroying things with Mexico as well. The original FI was that was outrageous. But I like the way that you phrased it very much, to be honest.
And there, that's not new to the community. When War Chiefs dropped, the Haudenosaunee, which were the Iroquois back then, they caused a lot of waves. Lakota, until somebody realized what you needed to do to beat Lakota, they caused a lot of problems. Aztec was always considered OP. The Asian dynasties, the China FF, they were seen as a one-trick pony that needed to be nerfed. So, new civs, they take time. They take probably 2 to 3 years to get balanced and really fit into the meta. But now you see those civs, you don't see a lot of complaints about civs like India or Aztec, because we've found that balance. And I think we'll find that balance with civs like Mexico and the United States. And, even Malta and Italy are starting to find their home after being considered very out of place for a while when they first came out.
sorry for the sorry for now after I think 2.5 hours and while writing at the same time to get kind of a rate going on, my brain is a bit of mush, so I didn't get those last two sentences honestly.
Sorry, mine is as well. I was basically rambling about how, every Civ needs time to
True.
find their place in the AOE 3 family. And I think that's finally happening with Mexico and the United States. And
yeah, I think we can absolutely agree on that, especially because if we think about Ethiopia, for example, a civ that has had terrible times when it comes to balancing in both ways, so being completely underpowered and overpowered, sometimes at the same time because people didn't figure everything out at the start.
mm-hmm.
We can clearly say that they are now being played again in a completely new spectrum from what they were before, which is just fun to see civs transition into new perspectives and to new positions. But yeah.
What I would love to see is, I think there's still room for the legacy civs to catch up. And I think if we can continue to make ways to play legacy civs, that's not the more standard play. I think that'll just make the community even more excited to test this stuff out.
Yeah, and I hope so because we see where all this kind of experimenting goes and brings us. What kind of experiences we can have with that, because it just enriches not just the game but the meta and therefore the entire experience as well, I'd say.
But if we're ready to raid, I also have a bit of the soft brain right now. I need some water, and I need to get out and stretch my legs.
I think we both do. So I just fixed the scoreboard for now. This is the result of the huge Ace versus Mitoe best of 7 with 2 town centers and all those maps. So sadly we didn't get to the end, but guys, I would say we cut it short here. We send you on your way, which should, if you're still interested in good content, lead you on to Aizamk's channel right now, because that's where the party, the post Aizamk watch party has started right now. So thank you guys for being there. So many of you stayed with us throughout the entire cast, and I think we peaked at 240 or 250 people. So I think I couldn't be more satisfied with that result, honestly. Thanks to my incredible co-caster as well, man. It was a pure joy, and if the chance ever comes up, we're definitely going to cast again together. I can promise you that.
Absolutely, and I plan to be more active in the Aizamk community in the future. Been doing some stuff with Widgie, another pretty notable caster in our community, but I am already anticipating the next time MFD and I get to watch some more fun games.
All right, then that's it from our side, guys.